The day has finally relinquished its hold on you. The demands, the noises, the bright lights and the rushing hours have all faded into the velvet distance, leaving you here in this safe and quiet harbour of the night. There is nothing you need to do now. There is nowhere you need to be. The world has turned its back to the sun, spinning slowly into the cooling embrace of the dark, and you are spinning with it, perfectly held, perfectly supported, perfectly still. Allow your eyelids to become heavy, feeling the gentle weight of relaxation pressing them down, sealing away the visual noise of your reality. Let your breath become a slow, rhythmic tide, inhaling the calm of the cosmos and exhaling the tension of the earth. Imagine for a moment that your bed is a raft, floating gently on a sea of obsidian silence. With every breath, you drift further away from the shore of your waking life. You're moving toward a place of ancient memory and verdant dreams, a place where life breathes in a rhythm much slower and much deeper than the frantic pace of the human world. You're travelling to the great lungs of our planet. You're travelling to the rainforest. This is a sanctuary where the air is thick with oxygen and magic, where the green is not just a colour but a living presence, and where the silence is composed of a million tiny whispers. Feel the atmosphere around you change as we approach this dreamscape. The air becomes warmer, softer, carrying the heavy, sweet scent of damp earth and blooming flowers that have never been named. The humidity settles on your skin like a warm silk sheet, comforting and wrapping you in a cocoon of tropical safety. Here, the boundaries of time dissolve. There is only the eternal present, the endless cycle of growth and rest. Let your mind detach from the linear path of logic and surrender to the sprawling, tangled, beautiful web of nature. We're going to float through this cathedral of trees, observing its wonders, absorbing its peace, and learning its secrets, not with our minds, but with our souls. As you drift into this emerald dream, picture yourself suspended effortlessly above the very roof of the world. You're hovering over the emergent layer of the rainforest, looking down upon an endless ocean of green that stretches to every horizon. This is the canopy, a vast undulating blanket of leaves that catches the full glory of the sun. From this height, the forest looks like a single, living organism, a rolling terrain of broccoli-shaped crowns weaving together to form a shield against the sky. Imagine the sunlight hitting these topmost leaves, millions of solar panels turning light into life. The wind here is steady and warm, rustling through the branches of the giants, trees that have outgrown their neighbours to stand as lonely sentinels against the blue. These emergent trees are the pillars of the sky, some reaching over 200 feet into the air. Picture their bark, weathered by centuries of wind and rain, thick and rugged, holding stories of storms that passed long before you were born. Up here, the view is limitless. You can see the mist rising from the valleys like the breath of the earth itself. It is a world of eagles and bright macaws, creatures that live their entire lives without ever touching the ground. Feel the sense of perspective this height gives you. The problems of the ground are invisible from here. There is only the vastness of nature, the wind and the light. It is a kingdom of clouds and leaves, isolated, majestic and serene. Drift closer now, allowing your spirit to settle on one of these giant branches. Feel the stability of the wood beneath you, solid as stone yet alive with sap and purpose. The leaves around you are thick and waxy, designed to hold on to the precious water while enduring the heat of the midday sun. In this high place you are a watcher, a silent observer of the planet's highest garden. The air is purest here, filtered and fresh. Breathe it in. Let the altitude and the expanse fill your lungs with a sense of boundless freedom, floating above the density of the forest below, in a realm where the earth meets the heavens in a kiss of chlorophyll and light. From this dizzying height, let your gaze soften and drift downward, following the path of gravity until you see a glint of silver winding through the deep green carpet below. This is the lifeblood of the forest, the mighty river. It curves and meanders like a great sleeping serpent, moving with a slow, powerful lethargy toward the distant sea. From high above, the water looks brown and heavy, rich with the silt and soil of the mountains it left behind thousands of miles away. It is the vascular system of this entire ecosystem, carrying nutrients, carrying life, carrying the very essence of the rainforest. Imagine floating down now, descending slowly until you are hovering just above the surface of this wide, slow-moving water. The river is so wide in places that you can barely see the other side. It is a moving mirror, reflecting the towering walls of trees and the drifting clouds above. The surface is calm, broken only by the occasional ripple of a fish or the drift of a fallen leaf embarking on a long journey to the ocean. Hear the sound of the water, a low, constant hum, a vibration that resonates deep within your chest. It is a sound of immense power held in check, a reminder of the relentless, patient force of nature. Think of the volume of water moving beneath you. This single river system holds more fresh water than the next 7 largest rivers combined. It is a liquid giant. In the rainy season, it swells and rises, swallowing the forest floor, turning the trees into islands, transforming the landscape into a water world where dolphins swim between the trunks of trees. But now, in your dream, it is calm. It is a cradle. You can feel the coolness radiating from the water, balancing the heat of the air. It is a soothing presence, a reminder that everything flows, everything changes, and yet the river remains. Let your thoughts flow with it, washing away downstream, leaving you cleansed and empty. As you rise gently from the river's surface, you become aware of the air itself, the invisible substance that connects the water to the leaves. You are breathing in the work of the forest. This place is often called the lungs of the earth, a poetic title that holds a profound biological truth. Picture the billions upon billions of leaves surrounding you, each one a tiny, silent factory. They are breathing in what we exhale, taking the carbon from the air, and in a miraculous act of alchemy, releasing pure, clean oxygen back into the atmosphere. Visualize this exchange as a shimmering, invisible mist. With every inhale you take in this dream state, you are drawing in the gift of the trees. The air here is so rich, so dense with life-giving energy, that it feels almost nourishing to breathe. It is humid, yes, but it is a humidity born of life. The trees are not just producing oxygen, they're also releasing water vapor, sweating moisture into the air to create their own clouds. This process, called transpiration, creates a massive flying river of vapor that travels across continents, bringing rain to far-off lands. Feel the interconnectedness of it all. The breath in your lungs right now as you lie in your bed may have been born in the canopy of the Amazon or the heart of the Congo. You are physically connected to this forest, tethered by the very air you breathe. Imagine the forest exhaling a sigh of relief, a massive planetary release of tension, and as it exhales, you inhale peace, you inhale vitality. You're part of this cycle, safe within the rhythmic breathing of the world, supported by the silent, tireless work of the green giants standing guard over the planet's atmosphere. Now, let us sink deeper, slipping beneath the thick roof of the canopy into the mysterious realm of the understory. As you descend, the light changes. The bright, harsh glare of the sun is filtered out, diffusing into a soft, cathedral-like gloom. This is a world of dappled shadows and kohlrabi, sunlight leaking through trees. The greens here are darker, deeper, more intense. The air is stiller, protected from the winds above. It feels like stepping into a library or a holy place, where silence is the rule, and movement is slow and deliberate. Look at the plants that dwell here. To survive in the shadows, they have adapted in beautiful ways. Picture leaves that are incredibly large, broad and flat, spreading out like solar panels to catch every stray photon of light that manages to filter down from above. Some leaves are patterned with purple or red underneath to reflect the light back into the leaf for a second chance at absorption. It is a lesson in patience and efficiency. These plants do not rush. They wait. They wait for a gap in the canopy, a fallen tree, a momentary beam of light, and they are ready to grow. The atmosphere in the understory is thick with humidity and the scent of damp vegetation. Vines hang from the ceiling like heavy drapes, twisting and spiraling around the trunks of trees in a slow-motion embrace. It is a vertical world, a maze of wood and leaf where the distinction between up and down blurs. Float through this dim, emerald hallway. Feel the coolness of the shade. It is a respite from the heat, a place of hiding and seeking, a place where secrets are kept. The shadows here are not scary. They are protective cloaks, wrapping around the creatures that call this layer home, wrapping around you, offering a deep, dark restfulness for your tired eyes. As your eyes adjust to the dim light of the understory, you begin to notice that the green is not uniform. It is teeming with hidden colours, tiny specks of brilliance that reveal the staggering biodiversity of this place. If you were to look at just one single branch of one single tree, you might find more species of ants than exist in the entirety of the British Isles. The density of life here is beyond human comprehension. It is a crowded, bustling city of nature, yet it operates in perfect, silent harmony. Visualize the kaleidoscope of life hiding in the foliage. There are beetles with shells that shimmer like iridescent metal, gold, sapphire, and ruby. There are butterflies with transparent wings that make them look like drifting spirits. There are stick insects that look exactly like twigs, perfectly camouflaged, masters of stillness. Every inch of bark, every surface of every leaf is a habitat, a universe unto itself. Life grows on top of life. Moss grows on the bark, ferns grow on the moss, and tiny insects live within the ferns. Feel the vibration of this existence. It is not a noise you hear with your ears, but a hum you feel with your spirit. It is the hum of creation. Nowhere else on earth is the spark of life so concentrated. To be here is to be surrounded by the infinite creativity of the universe. It reminds you that life is resilient, inventive, and abundant. Let that feeling of abundance fill you. You're not empty. You're part of a world that overflows with life. You're part of this rich tapestry, woven into the same web of existence as the glowing beetle and the silent moth. You're not alone. You're surrounded by 1 trillion tiny heartbeats, all pulsing in the slow rhythm of the forest. Amidst this teeming activity, there is one creature that embodies the pace of the rainforest perfectly. Shift your gaze to the crook of a large tree where a ball of mossy fur is curled up, indistinguishable from a termite nest or a clump of leaves. It is the sloth, the guru of relaxation. Picture this gentle creature, moving with such agonizing slowness that algae actually grows on its fur, turning it green to match the leaves. The sloth does not understand the concept of hurry. It takes a full month to digest a single meal. Watch the sloth as it slowly, ever so slowly, reaches out a clawed hand to grasp the next branch. The movement is fluid, deliberate, and unbothered. It is a masterclass in energy conservation. In a world that often demands speed and efficiency, the sloth survives by doing the exact opposite. It thrives by being still. It succeeds by slowing down. It is a living permission slip for you to do the same. Imagine entering the mind of the sloth. There is no anxiety about the future, no regret about the past. There is only the sensation of the rough bark, the taste of a leaf, and the warmth of the humid air. The sloth sleeps for 15 to 20 hours a day, suspended in the canopy, cradled by the trees. Let yourself adopt this spirit. Feel your own limbs becoming heavy and relaxed, just like the sloth. There is no need to rush to the next thought. There is no need to rush to sleep. Just be here, hanging in the suspended moment, perfectly at ease with the passage of time, letting the world rotate without your help. As you rest in this stillness, the light in the forest begins to dim further, and a low rumble rolls through the sky above the canopy. The air pressure drops, a physical sensation of heaviness and anticipation. Then, you hear it, the distant rhythmic drumming of rain. It starts as a whisper, a soft pattering on the millions of leaves high above, and then swells into a magnificent roaring crescendo. This is the tropical rain, the life-giving shower that defines this ecosystem. Visualize the rain falling in sheets, a vertical ocean descending from the grey clouds. But down here, deep in the forest, the rain does not hit you directly. It is intercepted by the canopy, shattered into a billion fine mists and large heavy drops that drip, drip, drip from leaf to leaf. It is a tiered waterfall. Watch a single drop travel from the top of an emergent tree, sliding down a vine, pooling in a bromeliad, spilling over to a fern and finally landing on the soft earth. The sound is all-encompassing. It is a white noise of nature, a static of water that washes away all other sounds, all other thoughts. It is the ultimate lullaby. The smell of the forest intensifies instantly. The scent of petrichor, the sharp, fresh aroma of rain hitting dry earth and releasing the oils of the plants. It is a scent that triggers a primal memory of safety and renewal. Feel the rain washing over the spirit of the forest, cleaning the leaves, cooling the air, nourishing the roots. Let the sound of the rain wash over your mind, rinsing away the dust of the day, leaving your thoughts clear, clean, and glistening like a wet leaf. Follow that last raindrop as it finally lands on the forest floor. Here, at the very bottom, is the foundation of the entire system. It is dark, damp, and incredibly soft. If you were to walk here, your feet would sink silently into layers of decaying leaves, twigs, and organic matter. This is not a place of death, but of transformation. The forest floor is the great recycler. Picture the vibrant carpet of fallen leaves, browns, reds, yellows, and fading greens, slowly becoming earth again. Look closely at the soil. It is threaded with fine white filaments, the mycelium of fungi. These are the mushrooms, the silent communicators of the wood. Visualize tiny, colourful caps pushing up through the leaf litter. Bright orange, ghostly white, spotted red. They are the connectors, breaking down the old to feed the new. They connect the roots of the trees in a wood-wide web, allowing the giants to share nutrients and warnings. There is a deep, earthy comfort here. It is the smell of rich soil, the smell of potential. It reminds you that nothing is ever lost, only changed. The energy of the fallen leaf becomes the strength of the towering tree. It is a slow, eternal circle. Rest your mind on this soft, dark floor. Feel the grounding energy of the earth beneath you. You're supported by the ground, held up by the bedrock of the planet. There is no need to hold yourself up. You can let go, melting into the support of the earth, decomposing your worries into nothingness, ready to grow new dreams from the soil of your sleep. From the quiet decomposition of the floor, a shadow moves with fluid grace. It is a presence of power and beauty, the jaguar. In the dim light of the understory, its coat of gold and black rosettes acts as an invisibility cloak, blending perfectly with the shifting patterns of sun and shade. This is the spirit of the wild, the apex of the forest. But in this dream, there is no fear, only awe. The jaguar moves without a sound, its large padded paws placing gently on the earth, silent as smoke. Visualize the muscular grace of the cat as it winds between the tree trunks. It is solitary, comfortable in its own company, a master of its domain. Unlike other cats, the jaguar loves the water. Imagine it slipping into a dark pool of the river, swimming with ease, its head breaking the surface like a moving stone. It represents confidence and sovereignty. It does not ask for permission to be, it simply is. Feel that sense of quiet power within yourself. The power to be alone with your thoughts and feel safe. the power to move through the shadows of your subconscious without fear. The jaguar watches you with amber eyes that hold the wisdom of the forest, blinking slowly, acknowledging your presence before turning and fading back into the deep green thicket. It leaves behind a feeling of protection, a guardian spirit patrolling the boundaries of your sleep, ensuring that nothing disturbs the sanctuary of your rest. Now let your gaze drift upward again, climbing the rough bark of a massive mahogany tree. Halfway up the trunk you encounter a garden hanging in the air. These are the epiphytes, the air plants and bromeliads that live their entire lives without ever touching the soil. They are not parasites, they do not hurt the tree. They are passengers, hitchhikers on the journey to the sun. They cling to the branches, their roots wrapping around the bark merely for stability, drinking their water and nutrients directly from the rain and the humid air. Look into the centre of a large bromeliad. Its stiff, overlapping leaves form a tight bowl, a natural chalice that catches the rain. Inside this tiny, suspended pool, a whole miniature world exists. A few ounces of water, trapped high in the air, becomes a home for tiny frogs, insect larvae, and microscopic life. It is an aquarium in the sky. Visualize these hanging gardens adorning the branches like living jewellery. Orchids with petals of shocking pink and white dangle from the limbs, their delicate roots swaying in the gentle breeze. They represent resilience, the ability to bloom without solid ground, to find what you need from the air around you. They teach you that you don't need to be heavily anchored to be safe. You can float, you can hang, you can trust that the environment will provide. Let yourself feel light, like an orchid bloom, suspended in the soft, humid air, beautiful, weightless, and entirely at peace. Drifting from the delicate suspension of the orchid, your attention is drawn to a vibration in the air, a sound more felt than heard. It is a soft electric thrumming, like the plucking of a tiny bass string. Hovering before the bloom is a jewel of the forest, the hummingbird. In this realm of giants, it is a speck of iridescent brilliance, a creature of light and air. Watch how it defies the laws of physics that bind the rest of the world. Its wings beat so fast they become a blur, a transparent haze of motion that allows the bird to float perfectly still in the centre of the air. It is a paradox of energy, frantic movement creating perfect stillness. Focus on the colours of its feathers as it turns slightly in the dappled sunlight. It flashes emerald green, then ruby red, then a deep shimmering violet. These are not just pigments. The feathers are microscopic prisms, refracting the light like a living diamond. Imagine the bird dipping its long needle-like beak into the heart of the flower, drinking the nectar, the sweet essence of the forest. It is a moment of pure connection, the plant offering sustenance, the bird offering pollination. It happens in a heartbeat, a fleeting kiss between the flora and the fauna. Allow your own mind to mimic the hummingbird's head, perfectly still, perfectly focused, while the world around you blurs into a soft, unimportant background. You're suspended in the sweet nectar of the now. As the jewel bird zips away, disappearing into the shadows, a different kind of flight catches your eye. Slow, rhythmic, and hypnotic. Drifting through the understory is the blue morpho butterfly. It is one of the largest butterflies in the world, and its flight is a lazy, undulating dance. With every downward stroke of its wings, a flash of electric neon blue ignites the gloom. It is like a piece of the sky has broken off and is floating down to the earth. The blue is so intense, so pure, that it seems to glow with its own internal light. But watch what happens when the wings close on the upstroke. The underside is a dull, mottled brown, decorated with large eye spots to ward off predators. As it flies, it creates a strobing effect. Flash of blue, then disappear, flash of blue, then disappear. It is a winking star in the green twilight. Follow this rhythmic flashing as it weaves between the vines and the trunks. It does not fly in a straight line. It wanders, guided by invisible currents of scent and air. Following its path feels like being hypnotized by a pendulum. Left and right, blue and brown, light and dark. Your eyes grow heavy following this gentle, erratic path, lulling you into a trance where the only thing that matters is the next flash of blue, guiding you deeper into the peace of the woods. The butterfly leads you back toward the water, to a quiet oxbow lake where the river has settled into a breathless calm. Spread across the surface of the dark, tea-coloured water are the giant water lilies, the Victoria amazonica. These are not the small lily pads of garden ponds. These are architectural marvels, massive green platters that can reach up to 10 feet in diameter. Picture them floating there, vast green islands, perfectly circular, with upturned edges that form a rim to keep the river water out. They look like stepping stones for giants, paving the surface of the lake in a geometric pattern of green. Drift closer and imagine the strength of these leaves. The underside of the lily is a masterpiece of engineering, a complex web of thick, air-filled ribs radiating from the centre, like the spokes of a wheel, covered in sharp spines to protect against fish. This structure is so buoyant, so strong, that a small child could sleep peacefully on the surface of the leaf without sinking. Imagine yourself shrinking down, curling up in the centre of one of these giant, dry, sun-warmed rafts. You're floating on top of the water, held up by the strength of the plant gently rocking with the subtle movements of the lake. The sun warms your face, the water cools the air beneath you, and you are cradled by the forest, safe from the depths, resting on a green shield between the water and the sky. On the muddy bank, just a few feet from the floating lilies, sits the philosopher of the rainforest, the capybara. It is the largest rodent on Earth, looking like a giant noble guinea pig with a rectangular snout and heavy-lidded eyes. Watch this creature as it sits in the shallows, the water lapping gently against its brown fur. There is no animal in the forest that radiates a more profound sense of chill. The capybara is the embodiment of non-aggression. It sits in groups, perfectly content, often with other birds or monkeys resting on its back. It has no need to prove anything. It simply exists. Observe the stillness of the capybara. It can remain motionless for hours, staring out across the river with an expression of deep, meditative contemplation. It is entirely at home in the water and on land, moving between the two worlds with a slow, lumbering grace. When it decides to swim, it slides into the water without a splash, paddling with webbed feet, eyes and nose just above the surface like a drifting log. Connect with this energy of absolute acceptance. The capybara does not worry about the jaguar until the jaguar is there. It does not worry about the rain until the rain falls. It lives entirely in the present moment, heavy and grounded, a warm, furry anchor in the flowing river of time. Behind the resting capybaras, the forest floor rises up to meet the trunks of the great trees, and here you notice the massive feet of the giants. These are the buttress roots. The soil in the rainforest is often thin and poor, unable to support the immense weight of the canopy trees with deep taproots alone. So, the trees have evolved to spread out. Picture these roots not as hidden underground cables, but as massive vertical walls of wood that snake out from the trunk, curving and winding across the forest floor. They can stand nearly as tall as a house, fin-like structures that anchor the tree against the storms. Trace the lines of these wooden walls with your mind. They are covered in moss and lichen, textured like the skin of an elephant. They create little rooms, nooks, and crannies at the base of the tree, private sanctuaries where small animals hide and sleep. These roots are the physical manifestation of stability. They say, "I am here, I am solid, I will not be moved." Lean your back against one of these wooden fins in your imagination. Feel the hardness, the coolness, the sheer age of the wood. It vibrates with a slow, geologic hum. It grounds you, pulling any static electricity from your mind down into the earth, leaving you feeling rooted, heavy, and secure. Marching along the ridge of one of these buttress roots is a river within the forest, a river of green. It is a column of leaf-cutter ants, millions of them, stretching as far as the eye can see. Each tiny ant carries a fragment of a leaf held high above its head like a green sail. They look like a fleet of tiny ships sailing over the roots and twigs. This is not a chaotic scramble. It is a marvel of order and cooperation. They have cleared a smooth highway through the jungle floor, a path worn clean by billions of tiny footsteps. Watch the rhythm of their work. It is relentless, steady, and soothing in its consistency. They are the farmers of the forest. They do not eat the leaves. They take them deep into their underground cities to grow a specific type of fungus, which they then consume. It is a civilization beneath your feet. There is something deeply relaxing about watching a process that works so perfectly, a machine made of living beings. You don't need to organize anything. You don't need to manage anything. The ants have it under control. The forest runs itself. You can just watch the green sails drift by, one by one, a mesmerizing parade of effort that requires nothing from you but your observation. Drifting away from the ground, your nose catches a scent that is rich, earthy, and vaguely familiar, a scent that whispers of comfort and warmth. You are near a cacao tree, the ancient source of chocolate. These trees are strange and beautiful. Unlike most fruit trees that bear their bounty on the tips of their branches, the cacao grows its football-shaped pods directly from the thick darkness of its main trunk. They hang like colourful lanterns, yellow, orange, and deep purple, clinging to the bark. Crack open one of these pods in your mind. Inside, surrounded by a sweet white slimy pulp, are the beans that, once fermented and roasted, become the dark, melting indulgence we know so well. But here, in the forest, the scent is greener, rawer. It is the smell of the earth's generosity. This tree has been revered for thousands of years, considered the food of the gods by the ancient cultures that live beneath this canopy. Imagine the richness of that history, the deep, dark flavour potential locked inside those pods. It is a grounding scent, heavy and luxurious, wrapping around your senses like a warm blanket, triggering memories of sweetness, of comfort, of being cared for. As you move through the understory, the light begins to change, taking on a golden, honeyed quality. The day is aging. In this soft light, you spot something clinging to the underside of a large fern-like leaf. It is a creature so delicate it seems made of blown glass. It is the glass frog. This tiny amphibian, no larger than a fingernail, has skin so transparent that you can see through its belly. You can see its tiny internal organs. You can see the red pulse of its beating heart. There is a profound vulnerability here, but also a profound trust. The frog does not hide behind armour or thick skin. It blends in by becoming clear, by allowing the green of the leaf to shine through it. It becomes one with its environment. Visualize that tiny, rhythmic beating heart. Thump, 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 thump. It is a metronome of life, persistent and brave. It reminds you that you don't need to be hard to be strong. You can be soft. You can be open. You can let the light pass through you, offering no resistance, simply pulsating with the gentle rhythm of your own existence, safe on the underside of your sheltering leaf. The golden light fades further, giving way to the purples and indigos of twilight. The sun has dipped below the horizon, and the magic hour of the rainforest begins. This is the time of the changing of the guard. The day creatures, the monkeys, the macaws, the butterflies, are finding their roosts, settling down, tucking their heads into their wings. The forest exhales the heat of the day. You can feel the temperature drop, a cool, refreshing wave that washes over your skin. And as the darkness gathers, the soundscape shifts. The chaotic chatter of the day fades away, replaced by a rhythmic, mechanical buzzing. It is the cicadas. Their song is not noise, it is a texture. It is a loud, constant, oscillating drone that fills every inch of the air. Zee, zee. It is a sonic shield, a wall of sound that blocks out distractions. It is the heartbeat of the evening. Let this sound wash over you. It is steady. It is predictable. It is the sound of the earth turning towards sleep. The forest is tucking itself in. The bright colours are fading into greys and shadows, and the visual world is surrendering to the auditory world. You're safe in this transition, moving from the active light into the restorative dark. In the deepening shadows of the forest floor, as the last light vanishes, a faint, ghostly glow begins to emerge from the rotting logs and leaf litter. It is not the moon, and it is not a star. It is the earth itself lighting up. These are bioluminescent fungi, the foxfire of the forest. They emit a soft, steady neon green light, creating a map of the forest floor in the pitch black. Picture these tiny lanterns activating one by one, like a city waking up at night, but a city of silence and slow growth. The light is cold, chemical, and utterly magical. It outlines the shape of a fallen branch. It highlights the curve of a tree root. It creates a fairy tale landscape where the ground glows with a secret energy. This light does not burn, it merely guides. It reminds you that even in the deepest darkness there is light. There is always a way to see, always a soft luminescence to guide you. Stare into this gentle green glow. It is dim enough that your eyes can rest, yet bright enough to keep you company. You're drifting now, floating through a galaxy of glowing mushrooms, untethered from the day, ready to explore the mysteries of the night. Rising from the gentle, glowing map of the forest floor, your eyes are drawn upward by a different kind of luminescence, one that does not originate from the earth, but seems to capture the very essence of the moonlight itself. Winding its way up the rough bark of a dormant tree is a vine that has waited all day for this exact moment of darkness. This is the realm of the moonflower. Unlike the gregarious blooms of the day that shout in reds and yellows for the sun's attention, the moonflower is a creature of the night, a shy beauty that reveals its glory only when the world is quiet. Picture the tight, spiraled bud of this flower, glowing pale and ghostly against the dark leaves. As the temperature drops and the shadows lengthen, a silent signal is triggered within the plant. Watch closely, for this is one of the few movements in the plant kingdom fast enough for the human eye to see in real time. The spiral begins to untwist. The white petals, delicate as spun silk, tremble and unfurl, pushing outward in a slow, graceful explosion of geometry. It is like watching a star being born in the darkness of the canopy. Within minutes, the flower is fully open, a wide, radiant trumpet of pure white, glowing with a spectral intensity that guides the creatures of the night. But it is not just the sight that captivates, it is the scent. As the petals open, they release a perfume that is heavy, sweet, and intoxicating, a fragrance designed to travel on the cool night air. Breathe in this imaginary scent. It is the smell of jasmine and gardenia amplified, a rich floral sedative that fills your senses, masking the earthy smell of the soil and wrapping you in a blanket of sweet botanical luxury. The moonflower reminds you that beauty does not always need the spotlight of the sun. Some of the most profound miracles happen in the quiet, unseen hours of the night. Drawn by this beacon of white scent, a visitor arrives, emerging from the velvet shadows like a soft, purring thought. It is the Sphinx moth, a creature that bridges the gap between bird and insect. Visualize the texture of this being. Its body is covered in a thick, furry coat that looks as soft as velvet, coloured in shades of mocha, taupe, and ash to blend with the bark of the trees. It does not land, it hovers. Focus on the wings. They are beating so rapidly that they generate a low, humming vibration, a soft whir that you can feel in your chest more than you can hear. This suspension requires immense energy, yet the moth makes it look effortless, hanging in the air before the moonflower like a worshipper. Watch as it unfurls its proboscis, a tongue indistinguishable from a long thin straw, and dips it deep into the throat of the flower. It is a moment of perfect lock-and-key design. Two species evolved over millions of years to fit together in this precise moonlit dance. There is a gentleness to this interaction that soothes the spirit. The moth does not harm the flower feeds the moth. It is a silent exchange of energy and nourishment that happens while the rest of the forest sleeps. Imagine the cool air from the moth's wings brushing against your skin, a tiny personal breeze. It represents the delicate balance of the ecosystem, where every need is met and every creature has a partner. You too are supported by this web of life, held in place by forces you do not need to see to understand. Leaving the hovering moth, your attention shifts to a flash of colour so vibrant it seems impossible in the gloom. Perched on a large dripping leaf is the iconic jewel of the rainforest night, the red-eyed tree frog. In the daytime, this creature is invisible, tucked away with its bright colours hidden, sleeping as a green lump on a green leaf. But now, it is awake. Picture the neon green of its skin, smooth and wet, shining as if it were polished jade. The frog sits motionless, its long, slender legs tucked beneath it. Its toes are tipped with bright orange pads, soft discs that act as suction cups, allowing it to walk up vertical glass, upside down on leaves, defying gravity with a casual grace. But it is the eyes that hold you. They are enormous, bulging orbs of deep, ruby red, bisected by vertical slit pupils like a cat. They are not frightening. They are wondrous. Their eyes adapted to drink in the faintest starlight, to see the world in a spectrum we cannot imagine. Imagine reaching out a finger to gently touch the smooth flank of this tiny amphibian. It is cool to the touch, damp and delicate. The frog blinks, a slow, deliberate motion, and then takes a single, deliberate step. It moves with a calculated slowness, placing one orange-toed foot after another, testing the surface. It is a master of traction and balance. It teaches you to move through your own dark moments with the same care, finding your footing, trusting your grip, holding on effortlessly even when the world turns upside down. As the frog moves, it adds its voice to the growing symphony of the night. You are now immersed in the great frog chorus, a sonic landscape that replaces the visual world. The rainforest night is never truly silent. It is alive with a texture of sound that is constant and rhythmic. This is not a chaotic noise, but a layered composition. Listen to the high-pitched tink-tink-tink that sounds like a tiny hammer on a metal anvil. Listen to the soft whoop-whoop of the larger bullfrogs down by the river. Millions of these tiny vocalists are singing at once, creating a wall of sound that wraps around the forest like a thick protective blanket. This sound is called pyophony, the music of life. It acts as white noise, a steady oscillating frequency that drowns out sudden startling sounds. It is a drone of safety. In the jungle, silence is what signals danger. The singing of the frogs means that all is well, that the predators are not near, that life is continuing its steady march. Let this chorus wash over you. Imagine the sound vibrating in the air, entering your ears and massaging your brain with its repetition. It is a lullaby that has been sung for millions of years, long before humans walked the earth. It is a sound of continuity. Let your mind drift on these waves of sound, floating on the rivets and chirps, allowing the complexity of the chorus to blur into a single, comforting hum that carries you deeper into relaxation. High above the frog chorus, in the swaying branches of the canopy, a different kind of creature navigates the dark. It is the kinkajou, often called the honey bear by locals, though it is related to neither bears nor monkeys. Picture a creature made entirely of soft curves and golden brown fur, with large round eyes that catch the moonlight. It moves through the trees with a fluid, liquid motion, pouring itself from branch to branch. The kinkajou possesses a remarkable gift, a prehensile tail. This muscular, furry fifth limb wraps securely around the branches, acting as a safety line, a brake, and an anchor. Watch as the kinkajou hangs upside down, suspended solely by its tail, reaching out with small hand-like paws to pluck a ripe fig from a branch. It is perfectly at ease, dangling in the void, trusting the strength of its own body. There is a sweetness to this animal, quite literally. It loves honey and sweet fruit, and it spends its nights seeking out the sugary treats of the forest. Imagine the scent of overripe fruit, heavy and fermented, that follows the kinkajou. It is a creature of simple pleasures, sugar, safety, and the comfort of the high branches. Visualize the softness of its fur, the plush density of it. Imagine burying your hands in that golden warmth. The kinkajou is a reminder of the soft, playful side of the night, a furry guide that teaches you to hold on to what supports you, to find the sweetness in the dark, and to move with flexibility and grace. As you follow the kinkajou through the high branches, you notice the air beginning to change. The humidity is rising, thickening, condensing. You have drifted into a cloud forest zone where the mountains brush the belly of the sky. A heavy, silent mist is rolling in, swallowing the trees, softening the edges of the world. This is not a frightening fog. It is a cooling, cleansing vapor. It moves through the trees like a slow-motion river of white, dampening the sounds, muting the colours, turning the forest into a dreamscape of silhouettes and shadows. Feel the tiny droplets of water condensing on your skin, a refreshing microscopic rain that doesn't fall but simply exists. The mist acts as a curtain, closing off the distant world, narrowing your focus to the immediate here and now. You can no longer see the ground. You can no longer see the sky. You're cocooned in a cloud. This isolation is profoundly peaceful. It feels like the world has shrunk down to just you and the soft grey swirl of the fog. Watch how the mist interacts with the trees. It clings to the leaves, forming heavy diamond-like drops at the tips that eventually fall, plip, onto the moss below. It swirls around the trunks, embracing them. The air is breathable water, oxygen-rich and cool. Inhale this vapour. Feel it hydrating your throat, cooling your lungs. It is the breath of the mountain. Let the fog wrap you up, hiding you from any prying eyes, hiding you from your own racing thoughts, burying everything in a soft white layer of cotton wool silence. In this cool, misty air, the plants themselves begin to undergo a nightly ritual. It is a phenomenon known as nyctinasty, plant sleep. We often think of plants as static, unchanging sculptures, but they are dynamic, living beings with their own circadian rhythms. Look closely at the prayer plants, the calatheas, and the heliconias growing on the forest floor. During the day, their leaves are spread wide and flat to catch the sun, but now, in the dark, they are folded up. Visualize the leaves lifting slowly, pressing themselves together like hands in prayer, or curling inward like a closing umbrella. They are tucking themselves in. By reducing their surface area, they preserve heat and protect themselves from the chill of the night mist. It is a gesture of self-care. The forest is literally closing its eyes. There is something deeply empathetic about seeing the vegetation go to sleep. It validates your own need for rest. If the mighty forest, with all its energy and life, needs to fold in upon itself and recharge, then so do you. Imagine the rustling sound of a billion leaves slowly shifting their posture, a collective sigh as the tension of photosynthesis is released. The frantic energy of growth is paused. The work is done. The leaves are vertical, silent, and still. Join them in this posture of rest. Fold your own energy inward, protecting your warmth, closing off your surface area to the demands of the world, and settling into a period of dormant restoration. Through the mist and the sleeping leaves, a large, dark shape moves along the forest floor. It is a living fossil, a creature that has walked these woods unchanged for millions of years. It is the tapir. Picture a large, barrel-shaped animal, rounded and sturdy, with a strange, flexible snout that wiggles and sniffs at the ground. It moves with a surprising stealth for its size, its padded hooves making almost no sound on the damp earth. The tapir is the gardener of the forest, a gentle browser that moves through the dark eating leaves and fallen fruit. It radiates a sense of ancient calm. It is not a predator, it is not aggressive. It is simply a massive, peaceful presence. Its skin is thick and leathery, a dark slate grey that merges with the shadows. It lowers its head, using its trunk to investigate a patch of ferns, the sound of its breathing heavy and rhythmic. Imagine standing next to this gentle giant. You can feel the heat radiating from its large body, a furnace of life in the cool night. It ignores you, unbothered, secure in its size and its camouflage. There is a grounding energy to the tapir. It is connected to the earth, low to the ground, stable and solid. It represents the deep, slow pulse of the primeval world. Let yourself borrow its weight. Feel yourself becoming heavy, solid, and unshakable, rooting yourself into the mattress, moving through the landscape of your dreams with the slow, deliberate confidence of the ancient tapir. As the tapir fades into the underbrush, your eyes are drawn to what looks like a broken stump on a fence post. But as you look closer, the stump opens an eye. It is the potu, also known as the ghost bird. This bird is the absolute master of stillness. During the day, it stands perfectly upright, its feathers patterned exactly like the bark of a dead tree, closing its eyes to become invisible. It trusts its disguise so completely that it will not move even if you walk right up to it. Now, at night, it breaks its statue-like pose only to hunt. But even its movement is eerie and silent. The potu does not build a nest. It lays its single egg on top of a broken branch and balances it there. It lives on the edge of impossibility. Look into its eyes, giant, dark, and soul-piercing. It sees everything. It is the watcher in the woods. The lesson of the potu is the power of doing nothing. It does not chase, it waits. It does not hide in a hole. It hides in plain sight by becoming one with its surroundings. It surrenders its ego and becomes the tree. Try to emulate this absolute stillness. Imagine your body is made of wood and bark, unmoving, unfeeling, perfectly blended with the environment. You're not separate from the room you're in. You are part of the room. You are part of the night. You're as still as a stump, as ancient as the wood, watching the dream world drift by without needing to interact with it, safe in your cloak of invisibility. Finally, the mist clears just enough to reveal the surface of the river again. But this time, the water is not brown or green, it is black, an absolute ink-black mirror. The clouds above have parted, revealing the staggering density of the equatorial sky. The Milky Way is not just a streak, it is a river of light, a thick band of diamond dust splashed across the heavens. And because the river is so still, the sky is perfectly reflected in the water. You're floating between two galaxies, one above you and one below you. The boundary between water and air dissolves. You're drifting through space. The stars in the water wobble slightly with the current, stretching and compressing like liquid light. You can reach down and trail your fingers through the constellations. The Southern Cross is rippling through your fingers. Orion is bobbing in your wake. This is the River of Stars, a visual echo of the infinite. The scale of it is overwhelming, yet comforting. You're a tiny speck floating in a universe of light, yet you are held, you are buoyant. The water supports you, the starlight guides you. There is no up, there is no down, there is only the float. The silence here is absolute, vast and cosmic. You're no longer just in the rainforest, you're in the cosmos, drifting on a planet that is breathing, spinning, and travelling through the dark, carrying you safely toward the shores of sleep. Drifting on this river of stars where the constellations ripple through your fingers, a shape breaks the surface of the mirrored water. It is a creature of myth and magic, a being that seems to belong neither wholly to the water nor entirely to the reality, It is the pink river dolphin, the boto. In the ink-black water of the night, Its skin glows with a soft, surreal hue of rose and bubblegum pink, a colour that seems impossible in the wild, yet here it is, swimming through the reflection of the Milky Way. Unlike its oceanic cousins, the botto is unfused and flexible. Its neck can turn from side to side, allowing it to weave through the submerged roots of the rainforest with the agility of a snake. Visualize it moving beneath you, a pale ghost in the dark water. It navigates not by sight, for the river is often dark and silt-heavy, but by sound. It sends out a constant stream of clicking echolocation, a sonic flashlight that paints a three-dimensional picture of the world in its mind. Imagine being able to see the texture of a submerged log or the shape of a fish purely through the vibration of sound. The dolphin is swimming in a world of music, a symphony of clicks and echoes that maps the unknown depths. Legend says these dolphins are shapeshifters, transforming into handsome dancers to walk the earth at night, but here, in the safety of the river, they are simply masters of their fluid domain, guiding you gently downstream with their rosy glowing presence. Following the dolphin, you drift out of the main channel and into a place where the boundaries between earth and water dissolve completely. You have entered the Vazia, the flooded forest. In the rainy season, the river rises nearly 30 feet, swallowing the land and transforming the forest floor into a lake bottom. Picture yourself floating in a canoe through the canopy of the trees. You're not looking up at the branches, you are moving through them. The water is still as glass, reflecting the leaves so perfectly that you cannot tell where the tree ends and the reflection begins. It is a silent, suspended world. Fish swim where birds usually fly. Imagine a tambaki fish drifting among the branches of a rubber tree, waiting for a fruit to fall into the water with a soft plop. The sound echoes in the stillness. There is a sense of surrealism here, a dream logic where the rules of gravity and habitat are suspended. Gliding between the trunks, you feel a profound sense of privacy. The flooded forest is a labyrinth of wood and water, a place of hiding, a mirrored hallway that extends infinitely in every direction. The water cradles the trees, and the trees shade the water, a cooling, darkened embrace that invites you to rest your mind in its deep, damp shadows. In the quietest corner of this flooded cathedral, a massive, gentle shape moves through the underwater pastures. It is the Amazonian manatee, a shy giant of the river. Unlike the playful dolphin, the manatee is the embodiment of slow, grazing peace. Picture this dark, leathery creature weighing nearly 1,000 pounds, floating weightlessly in the water. It has no natural predators here. It lives a life of absolute tranquility. Watch as it uses its split upper lip to gently grasp the floating water hyacinths, munching on the greenery with a rhythmic, contented chewing motion. It is a vegetarian of the deep, a peaceful cow of the waters. There is something deeply soothing about the manatee's pace. It breathes only every few minutes, surfacing with a quiet sigh to exchange the air in its lungs before sinking back down to the bottom to rest. Connect with this rhythm. Inhale, hold, and sink. The manatee does not rush. It does not hunt. It drifts, buoyed by the water, protected by its thick skin and its sheer size. It is a presence of pure, non-threatening mass, grounding the energy of the river, teaching you that you can be heavy and yet float, you can be large and yet be gentle. As you drift deeper into the murkier, nutrient-rich waters, you become aware of a subtle energy field humming around you. This is the domain of the gymnotiforms, the knife fish, and the famous electric eel. But do not think of the shock, think of the sense. These creatures possess a superpower called electrolocation. In the dark, silt-filled waters where eyes are useless, they generate a weak, constant electric field around their bodies, a low-voltage halo. Imagine closing your eyes and being able to feel the disturbance of an object before you touch it. Every rock, every root, every swimming insect distorts this electric field, and the eel feels it on its skin like a touch. It is navigating by feeling the conductivity of the universe. It is a sixth sense, a way of knowing the world without seeing it. Visualize this faint, invisible hum surrounding the fish, a protective bubble of awareness. It reminds you that there are ways to understand your surroundings that do not require sharp vision or bright light. You can trust your intuition. You can trust the vibe of the space. You can navigate the darkness simply by feeling the energy changes around you, safe in your own electric aura. Rising from the electric waters, your gaze climbs a massive trunk that looks like a candle covered in dripping wax. This is the work of the strangler fig. It begins life not on the ground, but high in the canopy, when a seed is dropped by a bird into a nook of a host tree. From there, it sends delicate roots cascading down the trunk of the host, like thin streams of water, until they reach the soil. Over decades, these roots thicken, fuse, and crosslink, forming a wooden lattice, a basket woven around the original tree. It is a slow, botanical embrace. Eventually, the host tree inside dies and decomposes, leaving the strangler fig standing alone. But it is not solid. It is a hollow cylinder, a magnificent, intricate tower of meshwork wood. Step inside this hollow tree in your imagination. It is a chimney looking up at the stars. The inside is spacious, protected, and dry. It has become a sanctuary for bats, owls, and geckos. It is a fortress built of living wood. Touch the smooth, cool bark of the lattice. It is strong enough to stand for centuries. The strangler fig teaches the power of slow, persistent growth. It shows how a fragile root can become a mighty wall. Standing inside this hollow tower, you feel shielded from the wind and the rain, encased in a column of natural architecture that was woven by time itself. On a nearby tree, the bark tells a different story, a story of healing and resilience. This is the Hevea brasiliensis, the rubber tree. If you look closely at the grey, smooth bark, you might see diagonal scars, the marks of history. Inside the veins of this tree runs a milky white latex, a substance that is not sap, but a defense mechanism. When the tree is wounded, it bleeds this liquid rubber to seal the cut and trap insects. Visualize this thick white fluid dripping slowly down the side of the tree, coagulating into a soft, elastic solid. It is the tears of the tree, but they are tears of strength. This substance changed the human world, putting the world on wheels, but here in the forest it is simply a way for the tree to protect itself. There is a smell here, faintly acrid, earthy and raw. It is the smell of raw potential. Touch the dried latex. It is springy and yielding. The rubber tree reminds you that you can be wounded and yet seal yourself up. You can bleed and yet remain strong. You can turn your vulnerability into a protective layer, bouncing back from the cuts of life with elasticity and grace. Climbing up the trunk of the rubber tree is a thick green vine with fleshy, succulent leaves. It spirals upward, seeking the light. Every few feet, a cluster of pale greenish-yellow flowers hangs from the stem. Lean in close, and you will recognize the scent instantly. It is warm, sweet, creamy, and nostalgic. It is the scent of home, of baking, of comfort. This is the vanilla orchid. It is strange to find such a familiar domestic smell here in the wild jungle, but this is its birthplace. The vanilla bean is the fruit of this climbing orchid. To produce a bean, the flower must be pollinated within a window of just a few hours, usually by a specific tiny bee or a hummingbird. It is a delicate, fleeting romance. Visualize the long, dark pods hanging like fingers from the vine, curing in the sun, developing that complex, intoxicating aroma that soothes the nervous system. Breathe in the imaginary fragrance of pure vanilla. It is a scent that bypasses the logic centers of the brain and goes straight to the emotional core. It says safe. It says warm. It wraps around you like a cashmere shawl. Let the sweetness of the vanilla vine sweeten your dreams, masking any bitterness, leaving only a lingering sense of contentment and well-being. High above the vanilla vine, perched on a sturdy branch, sits a bird that looks like a cartoon drawn by a child with an overactive imagination. It is the toko toucan, with its comically large, bright orange beak. In the dim light, the beak seems to glow. You might think this massive appendage would be heavy, dragging the bird's head down, but it is actually a marvel of lightness, a honeycomb of air and keratin, light as styrofoam. Watch the toucan as it settles in for the night. It has a special trick for sleeping. It turns its head backward and tucks that giant beak deep into the feathers of its back, then flips its tail up to cover its head. It transforms itself into a perfect fluffy ball of black feathers. The beak is not just for show, it is a radiator. By controlling blood flow to the beak, the toucan can release heat to cool down or keep it close to stay warm. Imagine curling up like the toucan. Tuck your head in, pull your covers up, make yourself compact. There is a deep comfort in becoming a ball, in pulling all your limbs toward your center. You are self-contained, you are warm. Like the toucan nestled high in the canopy, you are balanced and secure, a soft sphere of sleeping life protected from the chill of the night air. Down near the roots of the toucan's tree, the undergrowth is thick with shrubs that hold secrets within their bitter bark. This is the cinchona tree, the source of quinine. For centuries, the indigenous people knew that the bark of this tree could cure the shaking fevers. It is the pharmacy of the forest. The rainforest is not just a collection of trees, it is a living library of chemical complexity. Imagine the taste of the bark, sharp, astringent, bitter. But in that bitterness lies the cure. The forest offers solutions to problems we haven't even discovered yet. There is a feeling of immense untapped potential here. You're surrounded by millions of compounds, leaves, roots, and saps that heal, soothe, and restore. You're sleeping in the middle of the world's greatest healing center. Let that knowledge seep into you. The earth provides, the earth heals. You don't need to search for the cure right now. You just need to rest in the presence of the medicine, letting the ambient energy of the healing forest restore your balance while you sleep. Finally, broaden your perspective. Zoom out from the bark, from the tree, from the forest itself, and look at the atmosphere above the canopy. Drifting on the high-altitude winds, thousands of feet above the trees, is a fine, reddish dust. It has travelled thousands of miles across the Atlantic Ocean, all the way from the deserts of Africa. This is Sahara dust. It seems like a paradox. Dust from the driest place on Earth feeding the wettest place on Earth. But this dust is rich in phosphorus, a nutrient that the rainforest soil lacks. The desert feeds the jungle. It is a planetary handshake, a cosmic transfer of energy. Watch the dust settling gently over the canopy like a microscopic blessing. It is invisible to the naked eye, but it is there, falling softly, constantly, nourishing the roots, fueling the growth of the green giants. It is a reminder that everything is connected. The wind, the sand, the ocean, and the trees are all part of one single, breathing system. You're not isolated. You're part of this global flow. Just as the dust finds its way to the tree, what you need will find its way to you. The winds of the universe are blowing in your favour, carrying nourishment from distant lands, delivering exactly what you need to grow, silently and softly, while you drift in the peaceful, interconnected dark. From that invisible drift of cosmic dust nurturing the canopy, your awareness coalesces once more into a form of majestic solidity, settling on the highest, sturdiest branch of a kapok tree. Here, ruling the kingdom of the air, sits the harpy eagle. Picture this monarch of the skies, not in the midst of the hunt, but in a state of regal repose. It is immense, with slate-grey feathers that cloak its body like a heavy velvet mantle. Upon its head, a crest of feathers stands up like a double crown, twitching slightly in the high-altitude breeze, sensing the currents of the air. Look into its eyes. They are dark, intelligent, and fiercely focused, capable of spotting a movement as small as a shivering leaf from hundreds of yards away. But in this moment, the gaze is soft, surveying its domain with the quiet confidence of a ruler who has no rivals. The eagle's talons, as thick and strong as a human hand, lock effortlessly around the branch. There is a locking mechanism in its tendons. When it squats, the talons close automatically, allowing it to sleep perched high above the world without using a single ounce of muscle energy to hold on. Feel that sensation of effortless security. Imagine that you too have a mechanism that locks you into safety, a way to hold on to your stability without trying. You can relax your muscles, you can let go of the tension, and yet you will not fall. You are held by the anatomy of your own spirit, perched high and safe, watching the green world breathe beneath you, a silent guardian wrapped in grey velvet, perfectly at peace with the height and the solitude. From the dizzying heights of the eagle's roost, let your spirit descend slowly, floating down past the layers of leaves, past the vines, until you reach the humid, shadowed floor. Here, standing in the filtered gloom, is a tree that seems to defy the stationary nature of plant life. It is the walking palm, the Socratia exoryza. Unlike its neighbours, whose trunks disappear directly into the earth, this palm stands elevated on a cone of stilt-like roots. They look like a dozen wooden legs, spreading out from the base of the trunk to grip the soil in a wide, stable circle. These roots are not just for support, they are tools of adaptation. If another tree falls and blocks the light, or if the soil becomes poor, the walking palm can literally move. It grows new roots in the direction of the sunlight and allows the old, shadowed roots to die and rot away. Over the course of months and years, the tree shifts its entire body across the forest floor, chasing the sun. It is a slow-motion migration, a dance that takes decades to complete. Visualize this patient, deliberate movement. It is the ultimate lesson in adaptability. The tree does not panic when the light fades. It simply grows toward the new opportunity, step by painfully slow step. It reminds you that progress does not have to be fast to be real. You can move at the speed of wood. You can shift your position in life imperceptibly, root by root, day by day, until you find yourself standing in the warmth of the light. Feel the stability of those multiple legs, grounding you, balancing you, allowing you to stand tall even on uneven ground. Wrapped around a nearby branch, illuminated by a stray shaft of sunlight that the walking palm sought, is a coil of living emerald. It is the emerald tree boa. This snake is a masterpiece of design, coloured the exact vibrant green of fresh wet leaves, with white markings down its back that look like jagged bolts of lightning, or the dappled pattern of sun through the canopy. Watch how it rests. It does not sprawl. It loops its body over the branch in neat, symmetrical saddles, draping itself like a heavy, wet towel. It is the picture of relaxation. Its head rests comfortably in the centre of the coils, its yellow eyes with vertical pupils watching the world with a cool, detached interest. The boa has highly developed heat-sensing pits along its jawline, allowing it to see the thermal signature of the forest. To the boa, the world is a glowing landscape of warmth. There is no tension in its body, only potential energy at rest. It trusts the friction of its scales against the bark. It trusts the strength of its own spine. Imagine curling up with that same flexibility and comfort, draping yourself over the support of your bed, letting your limbs hang heavy and loose. There is nothing to do but hang there, beautiful and still, a green jewel of the forest absorbing the ambient warmth of the day. On the damp earth below the boa's branch, a tiny splash of colour moves through the leaf litter. It is a creature that warns of danger, but displays only beauty, the poison dart frog. This specific one is the blue jeans frog, with a bright red body and legs that look like they are dipped in indigo ink. It is a tiny, glistening gem, no bigger than a thumb, hopping fearlessly through the shadows. But observe a moment of tenderness in this tiny life. On the father frog's back, clinging to his skin, are 3 microscopic tadpoles. He is carrying them. He has gathered them from the ground and is beginning a long, arduous climb up the trunk of a massive tree. He's looking for a bromeliad, high in the canopy, that holds a pool of rainwater. This is where he will deposit his young into a private, predator-free aquarium in the sky. Feel the dedication of this journey. The climb is the equivalent of a human climbing a skyscraper with a backpack, yet the frog continues, sticky toe by sticky toe, driven by the instinct to protect. It is a story of parenting and survival played out on a miniature scale. Visualize the cool water of the bromeliad waiting for them, a sanctuary in the leaves. It reminds you that even the smallest creatures carry great burdens with grace, and that there is always a safe place waiting if you just keep climbing, step by step, toward the canopy. The tree the frog climbs is a titan of the forest, a Bertholletia excelsa, the Brazil nut tree. It towers above the rest, its trunk straight and smooth, reaching up to explode into a mushroom-shaped crown. High in these branches hang the fruit, heavy, hard, woody spheres the size of cannonballs. Inside these fortress-like shells, packed like orange segments, are the nuts we know. The casing is incredibly hard. It falls from the tree with a thud that shakes the ground, hitting the earth intact. It is a vault that seemingly cannot be opened. It lies there, a locked treasure chest of protein and fat, waiting for the only key that fits. That key is a rodent with a coat of glossy brown fur and chisel-like teeth, the agouti. Watch the agouti approach the fallen pod. It is the only animal in the forest with jaws strong enough to gnaw through the wood. It works patiently, scraping away until it breaches the vault. But the agouti does not eat everything. It is a hoarder. It takes the extra nuts and buries them in the soil for later, often forgetting where it hid them. In doing so, it plants the next generation of giants. Think of the symbiotic relationship between this massive tree and this small, busy mammal. The tree cannot reproduce without the agouti. The agouti cannot survive without the tree. It is a perfect circle of dependency. There is a comfort in knowing that nature has a plan for everything, even the hardest nuts to crack. What seems impenetrable will eventually open. What is buried is not lost, it is planted. You can rest in the knowledge that your efforts, like the buried seeds, will eventually grow into something majestic, even if you can't see the results right now. Near the banks of a slow-moving stream, where the agouti buries its treasure, the vegetation clears slightly, revealing the water's edge. Here, basking on a sun-warmed rock, is the green iguana. It looks like a creature from another epoch, a miniature dragon with a ridge of spines running down its back and a flap of skin, the dewlap hanging from its throat. The iguana is a solar-powered being. It lies perfectly still, angling its body to catch the maximum surface area of the sun. It is charging its internal batteries. Feel the warmth penetrating its scaly skin, warming its blood, loosening its muscles. It is a state of pure hedonistic absorption. It does not multitask. It does not worry. It simply soaks. Occasionally the iguana will need to move. Watch it dive from the rock into the stream. It does not land with a clumsy splash, but slices into the water, tucking its legs against its sides and using its long, powerful tail to propel itself like a crocodile. It transforms instantly from a creature of the land to a creature of the water. It can hold its breath for up to 30 minutes, resting on the riverbed, letting the current wash over it. Imagine that transition, from the warmth of the sun to the cool silence of the water. You're adaptable. You can move between worlds, finding comfort in the heat and peace in the cool depths, always perfectly at home in your own skin. Just above the surface of this stream, a small insect lands on the water, creating a ripple. Suddenly a creature sprints across the surface of the river, defying physics. It is the basilisk lizard, often called the Jesus Christ lizard, for its ability to walk on water. It moves with such speed, and its feet have such specialized fringes of skin that unfurl to slap the water, that it creates tiny pockets of air to step on. It does not sink. It dances on the tension of the surface. Visualize this lightness. To the basilisk, the water is a solid floor. It dashes across the liquid mirror, leaving only a trail of expanding rings behind it. It represents the ability to stay above your emotions, to skim across the surface of the deep without getting pulled down. Eventually the lizard slows down and gently sinks, becoming a swimmer. But hold on to that image of running on water. It is a feeling of weightlessness, of agility, of being so light and so quick that the heavy laws of the world do not apply to you. In your dreams, you can run on water, you can fly, you can step lightly over the depths, supported by the miraculous physics of your own imagination. Deeper in the main channel of the river, where the water is dark and deep, resides a living dinosaur. It is the arapaima, one of the largest freshwater fish in the world. Its body is torpedo-shaped, covered in scales that are as large and hard as armor plating. These scales are etched with red markings, glowing dully in the murky water like embers. The arapaima has a secret. It breathes air. Every 10 to 20 minutes, it must rise to the surface to gulp oxygen. Watch for the disturbance in the water, a massive smooth roll as the fish breaks the surface, takes a loud, gasping breath, and disappears again with a slap of its tail. This adaptation allows it to survive in oxygen-poor waters where other fish would perish. There is an ancient wisdom in the arapaima. It has survived unchanged for 23 million years. It knows the rhythms of the river better than any other creature. Imagine being that fish, heavily armoured, safe, gliding through the dark with slow, powerful strokes of your tail. You carry your own air. You are self-sufficient. You can navigate the low points, the dark places, because you always know how to return to the surface, to the light, to the breath. Inhale deeply now, mimicking the arapaima, filling your lungs with fresh energy before diving back down into the comforting depths of sleep. As the river widens, flowing toward the delta, the trees begin to change. The soil becomes salty, the air briny. You're entering the mangroves, the nursery of the ocean. These trees are the only ones that can drink salt water. They stand on tangled, arched roots that rise high out of the mud, looking like a chaotic mass of wooden ribs or a basket woven by a giant. These roots are creating land. They trap the silt and sediment flowing down the river, building up the coastline inch by inch. They are the stabilizers. Beneath the water, in the intricate cage of the roots, thousands of baby fish hide. It is a safe haven for the young of the reef, a place to grow strong before venturing out to the open sea. Visualize the tide coming in. The water rises, swallowing the mud, creeping up the wooden legs of the mangroves. The trees stand firm against the push and pull of the tide. They are the buffers, absorbing the energy of the waves, protecting the land behind them. Feel the resilience of the mangrove. It thrives where fresh water meets salt, where earth meets sea. It lives in the in-between places. It teaches you that you can find your footing even in shifting tides, that you can build a sanctuary in the chaos, creating a safe, quiet nursery for your thoughts amidst the tangled roots of your mind. Finally, in the deep, slow waters where the mangroves give way to the swamp, lives the spirit of the waterways, the green anaconda. Forget the monsters of the movies. Picture the reality of this animal. It is the heaviest snake in the world, a creature of immense water-supported mass. On land it is slow and heavy, but in the water it is weightless. The anaconda spends most of its life submerged, with only its eyes and nostrils above the surface. It is the ultimate embracer. It does not bite. It hugs. It holds. It is a creature of pressure and contact. Visualize its beautiful skin, olive green with black oval spots, blending perfectly with the river vegetation. It moves with a slow, sinuous undulation, disturbing nothing. There is a profound, heavy calmness to the anaconda. It digests slowly. It moves slowly. It lives in a world of slow time. Imagine feeling that kind of heaviness in your own limbs, a pleasant, grounding weight. You're submerged in the warm waters of sleep, supported on all sides. You don't need to hold yourself up. You're buoyant. You're drifting. You're the river and you are the snake, winding your way through the dark, warm, comforting currents of the night, heavy with relaxation, sinking deeper and deeper into the primal peace of the water. Deep within the same murky, tea-coloured waters where the anaconda rests, another master of disguise lies in wait, blending so perfectly with the river bottom that it becomes indistinguishable from the detritus of the forest. This is the Matamata turtle. Unlike the sleek, swimming turtles of the ocean, the Matamata is a creature of texture and rugged geometry. Its shell is not smooth, but knobby and ridged, resembling a piece of rough, waterlogged bark. Its head is flat and triangular, fringed with flaps of skin that sway gently in the current like loose bits of decaying vegetation. Visualize this ancient being resting on the soft mud of the riverbed. It does not chase, it becomes. It waits with a patience that spans eras. Algae grows on its shell, further blurring the line between animal and environment. To the small fish swimming by, the Matamata is just another pile of leaves, a safe shadow in the water. It is a living lesson in the art of stillness. It teaches you that you do not always need to strive or push against the current. Sometimes, the most effective way to be is simply to settle, to ground yourself, and to let the world come to you. Watch the Matamata breathe. It has a long, snorkel-like nose that it can extend to the surface without moving its massive body. It stays submerged, safe, and heavy, connected to the water, merely sipping the air. Feel that sense of heavy, anchored safety. You're the rock in the river. You're the log on the bottom. The currents of life may flow over you, rushing and swirling, but you remain unmoved, cloaked in your own peaceful camouflage, resting in the quiet dark of the deep. Drifting just above the Matamata, in the slightly clearer water where the light filters down in shafts of gold, a school of shape and colour glides by. These are the discus fish. They are named for their perfect circular shape, looking like dinner plates turned on their sides, painted in vibrant shades of turquoise, red, and electric blue. They do not swim with the frantic darting of smaller fish. They glide. Their movement is majestic and synchronized, a slow-motion ballet of flat, colourful discs slicing through the water. Observe the parenting of the discus. Unlike many fish that lay their eggs and leave, the discus are devoted nurturers. When their babies hatch, the fry cling to the sides of the parents, feeding on a special nutritious mucus the parents produce on their skin. It is a profound image of care, the parents literally giving of themselves to sustain their young, carrying them through the water like a living shield. Visualize the calmness of the school. They turn together, they stop together. There is a collective intelligence here, a shared sense of direction. The water around them seems to slow down to match their pace. Imagine yourself as one of these discs, thin and graceful, slipping through the water with zero resistance. You're surrounded by your community, protected by the group, moving in a harmonious flow where no words are needed, only the gentle, silent language of fins and water pressure. Swimming alongside the discus is a creature often misunderstood, shrouded in myths of ferocity, yet possessing a glittering beauty that rivals any gem. It is the red-bellied piranha. Strip away the movies and the fear, and look at the animal itself. In the dappled light of the Amazon, its scales shimmer with flecks of gold and silver, looking like it has been dusted with precious metal. Its belly glows with a deep fiery orange, a splash of sunset in the dark water. Piranhas are actually shy, nervous creatures. They school not for attack, but for protection, finding safety in numbers against the river dolphins and caimans. Watch them hover in the water, their movements precise and twitchy. They are the cleanup crew of the river, the sanitizers. They ensure that nothing goes to waste, that the cycle of life and death remains efficient and clean. Focus on the sound of the water around them. It is a soft rush, a fluid embrace. The piranha is perfectly adapted to this world, its senses tuned to the slightest vibration. There is a beauty in their efficiency, a sparkle in their presence. Let go of the need to judge the creature by its reputation. Simply observe the flash of gold, the coordination of the school, the way they move like a single organism, a shimmering curtain of a living metal that parts gently to let you drift through, unharmed and unbothered. As you rise from the water, breaking the surface near a tangle of low-hanging branches, you encounter a bird that seems to have flown straight out of the Jurassic period. It is the Hutsin. It sits heavily on a branch, a pheasant-sized bird with a messy crest of reddish-brown feathers that looks like an unkempt mohawk. Its face is a striking blue, its eyes bright red. It moves with a clumsy prehistoric charm, wheezing and grunting as it shifts its weight. The Hutsin is unique in the avian world. It is a leaf-eater, a flying cow. It has a special system to ferment the vegetation it eats, which gives it a distinct, earthy, musky smell, earning it the nickname the stink bird. But this smell is its protection. Predators avoid it. It is safe because it is simply itself, unpalatable to others. Imagine the young Hutsin chicks. They possess a feature lost to almost all other modern birds: claws on their wings. If danger approaches, they drop from the nest into the water below, swim to safety, and then use their wing claws to climb back up the tree trunk, looking like tiny feathered dinosaurs. Connect with this primal resilience. You have ancient tools within you, instincts that predate your modern worries. You have the ability to climb, to survive, to return to your perch no matter what falls you take. The Hutsin sits there, digesting slowly, unhurried, a living bridge to the deep past, reminding you that life always finds a way to endure. From the low branches of the Hutsin, your gaze is drawn upward and outward to the open expanse of the wetlands, where the trees recede to reveal the sky. Standing like a sentinel in the shallow water is the Jabiru stork. It is a giant, the tallest flying bird in South America, standing nearly 5 feet tall. Its plumage is a stark, clean white, contrasting with a naked black head and neck, and a thick band of red at the base of its throat. The Jabiru is a statue of patience. It stands on one long, thin leg, perfectly balanced, motionless for hours. It is the monk of the marsh. It watches the water with a keen, quiet focus, waiting for a fish or a frog to reveal itself. It does not pace. It does not hunt frantically. It waits. Visualize the nest of the Jabiru. It is a massive platform of sticks built high in the crown of a lonely tree, used by the same pair for decades. It is a home that grows over time, a castle in the air. The Jabiru represents the power of standing your ground, of building a stable home, of long-term commitment. Feel the stillness of the stork in your own body. Stand tall in your spirit, balanced and calm, watching the flow of thoughts drift by like fish in the stream without needing to catch every single one. Just be the witness, just be the sentinel. Rustling through the reeds near the stork's feet, a band of creatures moves with tails held high like flags. These are the coatis. They are relatives of the raccoon, with long, flexible snouts and ringed tails that they hold straight up in the air to keep track of each other in the tall grass. They are the foragers, the busybodies of the forest floor. Watch them snuffling through the leaf litter, turning over rocks, investigating every nook and cranny. There is a joy in their curiosity. They chirp and grunt to one another, a constant stream of communication that keeps the family together. They are never alone. If one finds fruit, the others come running. Imagine the texture of their fur, dense, grizzled, and warm. Imagine the sound of their little paws pattering on the earth. They are grounded, practical, and social. They remind you of the simple pleasure of looking for treasures, of being with your tribe, of the comfort of the earth. Let your mind scurry along with them for a moment, enjoying the tactile sensation of the leaves, the smell of the soil, the feeling of being part of a busy, happy band that looks out for one another. As the coatis move on, the forest floor grows quiet again. The sun begins to dapple through the dense canopy, creating patches of light and shadow. In one of these sun-dappled spots, curled in the crook of a low tree branch, sleeps the ocelot. It is a cat of breathtaking beauty, often called the dwarf leopard. Its coat is a masterpiece of design, chains of black rosettes on a background of gold and cream, mimicking the way sunlight hits the leaves. The ocelot is a nocturnal hunter, so now, in the daylight of your dream, it is in deep repose. Watch the rise and fall of its spotted flank. Its paws are tucked in, its tail draped loosely over the branch. Cats are the masters of relaxation. They carry no tension in their bodies when they sleep. They pour themselves onto the surface they rest on. Visualize the softness of that fur. It looks like painted velvet. The ocelot is hidden in plain sight, safe in its camouflage. It does not worry about the world while it sleeps. It trusts its disguise. It trusts its senses to wake it if needed. Until then, it surrenders completely to the nap. Invite that feline energy into your own body. Let your muscles go liquid. Let your spine conform to the mattress. Be the ocelot, beautiful and wild, resting in the safety of the high branch, invisible to the world, lost in a dream of golden light. Hanging from a vine just above the sleeping cat is a flower that looks less like a plant and more like a geometric sculpture. It is the passion flower. The structure of this bloom is so complex, so intricate, that early missionaries used it as a symbol to teach stories of faith, but here it is simply a marvel of nature's engineering. Look at the layers. A base of 10 white petals surmounted by a fringe of purple and blue filaments that look like a splash of fibre optic cables. In the centre, the reproductive parts stand up like a clock tower, with 3 stigmas and 5 anthers arranged in perfect radial symmetry. It is a mandala of biology. Trace the tendrils of the vine. They are coiled like springs, reaching out to grab onto other plants for support. They are nature's shock absorbers. If the wind blows, the spring stretches but does not break. The passion flower teaches you flexibility. It shows you that you can be incredibly complex and beautiful, yet still hold on tightly to your support system. Stare into the center of the flower in your mind's eye. The purple ring is hypnotic. It draws you in, spiraling your focus down to a single point of beauty, quieting the chaos of the mind with its perfect ordered symmetry. A few feet away, pushing up through the dark green leaves of the understory, is a splash of vivid red and yellow. It is the heliconia, often called the lobster claw for its distinctive shape. These are not soft, fragile petals. They are thick, waxy bracts, tough and durable, arranged on the stem in a zigzag pattern. Each claw is a cup. It catches the rain and holds it. Inside these tiny vertical pools of water, a specialized ecosystem exists. Mosquito larvae, tiny aquatic beetles, and microorganisms live their entire lives inside the flower. The heliconia is a landlord. It provides a home for the tiny. Visualize the texture of the heliconia, smooth, cool, and solid. It looks like it was carved from red wax. It is a beacon for hummingbirds, whose curved beaks fit perfectly into the curved flowers hiding inside the bracts. It is a relationship of lock and key. The flower holds the water holds the life, the bird brings the pollen. It is a reminder that you have the capacity to hold space for others. You can be a reservoir of resources. You can be the splash of colour in the shadows. Feel the cool water held within the cup of the flower, still and reflective, waiting to nourish whoever comes to drink. Finally, let your vision blur and soften, moving away from the specific details of the flower to the background that holds it all. Cover every surface, the tree trunks, the fallen logs, the rocks, the ground itself, is a lush, vibrant layer of moss. In the rainforest, moss is not just a plant, it is the skin of the forest. It is a microscopic forest within a forest. If you were to look closely, you would see tiny fronds like ferns, tiny caps like mushrooms, a whole world of green velvet. But from here, it is simply softness. It absorbs sound. It dampens the echo. It turns the forest into a recording studio of silence. Imagine walking barefoot on this moss. It is cool, damp, and spongy. It yields to your weight and then springs back. It smells of rain and clean earth. It is the ultimate comforter. It softens the hard edges of the world. It covers the decay of the fallen trees with new life. It reminds you that given enough time, everything hard becomes soft, everything sharp becomes rounded. Let your mind wrap itself in this green velvet. Let the moss absorb your worries, absorb the noise of the day, leaving you in a quiet, padded room of nature, perfectly insulated, perfectly soft, perfectly at peace. Resting in the plush, sound-absorbing sanctuary of the moss, your gaze travels inches upward to witness a slow, silent, geometric miracle. Rising from the green carpet are the ancient sentinels of the forest floor, the tree ferns. These are not the small potted plants of a windowsill. These are prehistoric giants, some standing as tall as trees, with fibrous trunks and canopies that spread like lace umbrellas. But the true magic lies in their birth. Look closely at a young frond, the fiddlehead. It is tightly coiled in a perfect spiral, a shape known to mathematicians as a fractal. Visualize this spiral. It is the geometry of the galaxies, the shape of a nautilus shell, the curve of a hurricane, all captured here in a plant. It is covered in a soft golden fuzz, like the fur of a newborn animal. As the fern grows, it does not just shoot up, it unfurls. It unrolls with an agonizingly slow, deliberate grace, a process called circinate venation. It is a yoga stretch that takes weeks to complete. Watch the slow motion of this uncoiling in your mind. It is the physical manifestation of potential energy releasing into kinetic beauty. The fern has been waiting for this moment, packed tight with life, and now it expands to greet the world. It teaches you the beauty of the gradual. You do not need to bloom all at once. You can unroll your life slowly, section by section, spiral by spiral, trusting that the pattern is already written within you, waiting for the right moment to expand into your full, intricate self. Resting on one of these broad, lace-like fern fronds, blending in with the shadows of the understory, is a creature of staggering proportions. It is the Atlas moth, one of the largest insects on the planet. Its wingspan is vast, wider than a human hand, a tapestry of russet, cherry red, pink and black. But look at the tips of the wings. They curve and hook, patterned with a spot that looks exactly like the eye of a snake. This is a master of mimicry. To a predator, this is not a tasty moth. It is a dangerous cobra. But to you, the silent observer, it is a canvas of nature's art. The Atlas moth has no mouth. It is born without the ability to eat. It lives for only a week or two, fueled entirely by the energy it stored as a caterpillar. Its sole purpose is to be beautiful and to reproduce. There is a poignant simplicity to its existence. It does not worry about food. It does not worry about the future. It simply exists in a state of silent grace. Visualize the gentle, slow flap of those massive wings. They are heavy velvet sails. The movement is not a flutter. It is a waft, a slow displacement of air that cools your face. The moth rests there, a fleeting moment of perfection, reminding you that life doesn't need to be long to be meaningful. It just needs to be true to its design. High above the resting moth, navigating the tangled highway of the branches, is a pair of eyes that reflect the starlight with a golden sheen. This is the margay, the acrobat of the feline world. While the jaguar rules the ground and the ocelot stalks the brush, the margay owns the trees. It is small, sleek, and possessed of a superpower unique among cats. Its ankles can rotate 180 degrees. Visualize this lithe, spotted cat descending a tree trunk. Unlike a house cat that gets stuck and must back down awkwardly, the margay walks down head first, vertical and fearless, gripping the bark with paws that act like hands. It moves with a fluid, liquid confidence, pouring itself around the trunk, spiralling down the wood like a ribbon of smoke. The maguey teaches you about flexibility. It tells you that when the path becomes steep, when the world tilts on its axis, you simply adjust your grip. You rotate your perspective. You find a new way to hold on. Watch its long, heavy tail acting as a counterweight, swinging gently like a pendulum to keep the cat perfectly balanced. It stops for a moment, looking at you with eyes that are enormous for its face, pools of nocturnal wisdom. It blinks, once, slowly, and then continues its silent vertical walk, a master of a world where gravity is just a suggestion. The maguey disappears into a curtain of thick woody ropes that hang from the canopy like the rigging of a sailing ship. These are the lianas. They are the great connectors of the rainforest. Starting as small shrubs on the forest floor, they reach out, grab a tree and climb toward the light, eventually becoming thick, woody cables that can span hundreds of feet, tying the trees together in a massive, stabilizing web. Trace the path of a single liana with your eyes. It loops and twists, forming natural swings and bridges. Some are flat like ribbons, others are twisted like corkscrews. They are the highways for the ants, the monkeys and the sloths. They hold the forest together. If a tree is weak or dying, the lianas often hold it up, tethering it to its stronger neighbours. Imagine reaching out and gripping one of these ancient vines. The bark is rough and cool. It feels solid, like gripping the muscle of the earth. You can lean your weight against it. It will not break. It is flexible, swaying slightly with the wind, but it is unbreakable in its tensile strength. Feel that connection. You're not alone. You're tethered to the people and the places that support you. You are part of a network that holds you up when you are tired, a web of connection that spans the distance and keeps you safe in the canopy of life. Using these lianas as a playground, a shape swings through the high branches with a silhouette that looks almost human, yet elongated and graceful. It is the spider monkey. But do not focus on the noise or the chatter. Focus on the silence of the swing. The spider monkey has no thumbs, only 4 hook-like fingers, perfect for catching the branch. But its true genius is its tail. This tail is a 5th limb, strong, muscular, and incredibly sensitive. On the underside of the tip, there is a patch of skin with fingerprints, just like a hand. Watch as the monkey pauses, hanging suspended by nothing but its tail, upside down, perfectly at ease. It is not struggling. It is not straining. It is simply hanging, letting gravity do the work. There is a feeling of absolute freedom in this suspension. The monkey is effortless. It swings from hold to hold, a pendulum of black fur against the green sky. It trusts the branch. It trusts its tail. It trusts the air. Imagine yourself swinging with that same ease, releasing one worry to catch the next moment of peace, flowing through the timeline of your life with the grace of a trapeze artist, always caught, always held, always moving forward with momentum and joy. From the vantage point of the spider monkey, looking out through a gap in the canopy, you see a sight that belongs on another planet. Rising vertically from the flat carpet of the jungle are massive flat-topped mountains with sheer cliffs that drop thousands of feet straight down. These are the tepuis, the houses of the gods. They are islands in the sky, isolated from the world below for millions of years. Visualize the summit of a tepui. It is a lost world, a plateau of strange rock formations and unique plants that exist nowhere else on Earth. The top is often shrouded in swirling mists, a kingdom of silence and stone. It is a place of absolute solitude. No humans live there. The noise of the jungle does not reach this height. Imagine standing on the edge of this precipice, looking out over the endless green ocean of the Amazon. You're above the birds, you're above the rain. You're on a pedestal of ancient rock, closer to the stars than to the soil. Feel the cool, thin air of the altitude. Feel the separation from the mundane world. Here, on the tepui, your problems are microscopic, invisible specks on the forest floor miles below. You are elevated, untouchable, a silent observer standing on the roof of the world. From the edge of one of these tabletop mountains, a stream of water flows over the brink and begins a descent so long that it defies imagination. This is Angel Falls, the highest uninterrupted waterfall on Earth. The drop is so immense, nearly a kilometre straight down, that the water does not hit the bottom as a liquid. Watch the water fall. It starts as a roaring river, a solid column of white. But as it falls and falls and falls, the air resistance tears it apart. The water atomizes. It turns into a fine, drifting mist, a cloud that floats down to the valley floor. It is a waterfall that turns into a spirit before it hits the earth. There is no crashing impact, no violent collision. There is only a soft, hissing silence as the water becomes vapor. It is a transformation. Visualize your own stress flowing over the edge of this cliff. Watch it fall away from you. See it breaking apart, dissolving into mist, drifting away on the wind until it is nothing but a cool, damp memory. The mountain remains solid. The water lets go. You are the mountain. Let the worry fall. Let it vaporize. Let it disappear into the soft green embrace of the valley below. In the cool, mist-filled cloud forest at the base of the falls, a flash of iridescent green glides through the vapour. It is the resplendent quetzal, a bird so beautiful it was worshipped as a god by the Maya and the Aztec. Its body is covered in metallic green feathers that shimmer with gold and blue highlights, and its chest is a vivid, beating crimson. But it is the tail that captivates. 2 long emerald streamers flow behind the bird as it flies, undulating like ribbons in the wind, longer than the bird itself. It looks like a flying serpent, a dragon made of feathers. The quetzal cannot be caged. It is said to die of a broken heart if captured. It is the ultimate symbol of freedom. Watch it land on a mossy branch, its long tail sweeping down in a graceful arc. It sits quietly, turning its crested head, a jewel in the mist. The colours are so intense they seem to vibrate. Connect with this vision of sacred beauty. It is a reminder that there are things in this world that are pure, wild, and untouched. Let the image of the quetzal flying through the mist inspire a sense of awe in you, a feeling that magic is real, and it has wings of emerald and gold. Far away from the cool mists in the warm, sun-drenched canopy of the Atlantic forest lives a creature that embodies the energy of the sun itself. It is the golden lion tamarin. This tiny primate is covered in a mane of silky reddish-gold fur that glows like fire in the sunlight. It looks like a miniature lion, a king of the branches no bigger than a squirrel. Watch the tamarin basking in a shaft of morning light. It grooms its beautiful fur with long, delicate fingers, ensuring every strand is perfect. It is a social creature, living in tight-knit families that sleep together in tree hollows, a tangle of golden fur. They chirp to one another with bird-like trills, a language of reassurance. There is a brightness to this animal that lifts the spirit. It is the spark of joy in the green vastness. Imagine holding this tiny, warm, golden creature in your hands. It is light, soft, and radiating heat. It represents the inner light that never goes out, the golden spark of life that exists even in the deepest forest. Let the golden lion tamarin remind you of your own warmth, your own value, shining bright and golden in the sanctuary of your sleep. Finally, the golden light of the tamarin guides you down from the canopy, back to the slow, winding riverbank where the water meets the sand. Here, you witness one of the most gentle, surreal interactions in the entire natural world. Resting on a piece of driftwood is an Amazon river turtle, basking in the sun with its eyes wide open, and fluttering around its head is a cloud of colourful butterflies, orange julias and yellow sulphurs. They are landing on the turtle's face, but the turtle does not snap, it does not hide, it remains perfectly still. The butterflies are gently drinking the tears from the turtle's eyes. It is a phenomenon called lacryphagy. The butterflies need the sodium found in the tears, and the turtle patiently provides it. It looks like a kiss. It looks like the butterflies are comforting the turtle, drying its tears with their delicate wings. It is a moment of pure symbiosis, a tender exchange between the reptile and the insect. Visualize this scene: the heavy, ancient turtle and the light, fleeting butterflies connected by a single drop of water. It is the ultimate image of peace. It tells you that even your sadness can be a gift, that even your tears can nourish something beautiful. Let this image of gentle acceptance settle in your heart. The butterfly kissing the turtle, the stillness of the river, the quiet perfection of a world where everything is provided for and everything is connected. From that delicate, tear-drinking kiss on the riverbank, your focus shifts to another winged creature fluttering nearby, one that challenges the very definition of visibility. This is the glass-wing butterfly, the Greta Otto. In a forest bursting with aggressive reds, screaming yellows and electric blues, this butterfly chooses the path of total absence. Its wings are not canvases for pigment, they are windows. The tissue between the veins is completely transparent, lacking the colourful scales that clothe other butterflies. Watch it land on a fern. If you do not look closely, you see only the fern. The butterfly allows the world to pass right through it. It does not block the light. It does not obscure the view. It offers no resistance to the visual landscape. Imagine the sensation of being like the glasswing, so clear, so light, and so unburdened that you simply blend into the background of your own life. You're not a solid obstacle, you're a lens. The green of the forest shines through you. The light of the sun passes through you. You're camouflaged not by hiding, but by being open, by allowing the environment to fill you up until the boundary between you and the world dissolves completely. Following the ghostly flight of the glasswing deeper into the shade of the understory, you come upon a large, broad leaf of a heliconia plant, hanging horizontally like a green roof. Peeking underneath, you discover a secret slumber party. Huddled together in the soft green glow of the leaf light are the Honduran white bats. These are not the dark, leathery creatures of Gothic caves. They are tiny, fluffy balls of white fur, no larger than marshmallows with yellow ears and noses. They have modified the leaf above them, biting the veins so that it folds down on the sides, creating a perfect waterproof tent. Inside this little green room, they sleep in a pile, clinging to one another for warmth. The sunlight hitting the top of the leaf filters through, bathing them in a soothing emerald luminescence. It is the ultimate cozy fort. Visualize yourself curling up in that soft white pile, protected from the rain by the leaf, protected from the world by the camaraderie of your kin. The air inside the tent is still and warm, smelling of crushed vegetation and comfort. It is a reminder that you can build your own sanctuary anywhere, turning a simple leaf into a home with just a little ingenuity and the warmth of those around you. Drifting away from the bat tent, you ascend slowly into the mid-canopy, drawn by a golden shimmer in the branches. Wrapped around a silk cotton branch is the silky anteater, the angel of the forest. It is the smallest anteater in the world, and it is strictly nocturnal, so now, in the gentle light, it is deep in a dream. Its fur is not coarse or bristly. It is spun gold, soft as cashmere, shimmering with a metallic luster that mimics the seed pods of the silk cotton tree. Look at how it sleeps. It curls into a perfect golden ball, wrapping its prehensile tail around itself and burying its face in its own fur. It looks less like an animal and more like a ripe golden fruit waiting to be plucked. It moves with a slowness that rivals the sloth, never rushing, never jarring the branch. Its life is a meditation on softness. Imagine touching that fur, the finest, softest texture in the entire jungle. It is a tactile whisper. The silky anteater teaches you that you don't need to be hard to survive. You can be soft, golden, and slow, curled up high above the chaos, safe in the luxury of your own gentle nature. As the silky anteater sleeps, your spirit drifts toward the mouth of a dark limestone cave hidden behind a curtain of vines. The air here is cool and smells of damp stone and fruit. Inside this cavern lives the oilbird, the only nocturnal, flying, fruit-eating bird in the world. While other birds navigate by sight, the oilbird navigates the pitch-black darkness using echolocation, just like a bat. Listen to the sound of the cave. It is filled with a soft, clicking language, click, 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 that bounces off the rock walls, creating a sonic map of the space. These birds are not hunting insects. They are seeking the fatty, rich nuts of the palm trees. They are birds of oil and shadow. Visualize them huddled together on the rocky ledges, their large eyes adapted to the dark, their bodies warm and plump from the rich diet. The cave is not a place of fear. It is a womb of stone, a secure fortress where the temperature never changes and the silence is broken only by the reassuring clicks of the colony. Step into this cool darkness. Let the stone absorb your heat. Let the clicking sounds guide you through the void, proving that you don't need to see the path to know exactly where you're going. Emerging from the cave and returning to the humid embrace of the forest floor, you encounter a creature that has walked the earth for 500 million years, a living fossil that bridges the gap between worm and insect. It is the velvet worm, the Onisophora. It moves across a rotting log on stubby soft legs that have no joints, moving with a fluid, hydraulic motion. It is powered by water pressure inside its body, a hydrostatic skeleton that allows it to flow over obstacles like liquid muscle. Its skin is a marvel of texture, covered in thousands of microscopic sensory papillae that give it the appearance and feel of blue or purple velvet. It is soft, dry, and incredibly delicate. As it walks, it taps the ground gently with its antennae, smelling the world with a tactile tenderness. If it needs to capture prey, it does not bite. It gently squirts a sticky net-like glue that entangles its target. It is a predator of soft entrapment. Watch the velvet worm flow over a patch of moss. It makes no sound. It leaves no footprint. It is a creature of absolute stealth and softness. Imagine embodying this fluid movement. You have no rigid bones to break, no stiff joints to ache. You're held up by the internal pressure of your own life force, moving over the rough terrain of the world with the soft, rolling gait of a creature that has survived every catastrophe Earth has ever known simply by being soft. The scent of the velvet worm's mossy log fades, replaced by a perfume so heavy, so sweet, and so complex that it feels like a physical weight in the air. You're standing before the cannonball tree. This is a tree of contradictions. Its trunk is rough and ancient, but bursting directly from the hard bark are specialized vines draped in flowers of shocking beauty. Large, fleshy blooms of pink, red, and yellow that look like open anemones. This phenomenon, where flowers grow from the trunk rather than the branches, is called cauliflory. It allows the tree to be pollinated by ground-dwelling animals and low-flying bats who cannot reach the canopy. But it is the scent that holds you. It is a mix of rose, jasmine, and expensive soap, a fragrance that permeates the jungle for miles. And hanging below these delicate perfumed flowers are the cannonballs, massive, round, woody fruits the size of human heads, rusting in the humidity. They hang like heavy pendulums of time. The tree is a juxtaposition of the fragile and the heavy, the sweet and the hard. Breathe in that ancient perfume. It connects you to the deep history of the forest. It smells of memories you haven't even made yet. It is a grounding scent, rooting you to the spot, asking you to stand still and let the beauty blossom directly from your core, just as the flowers burst from the trunk. Below the cannonball tree, the ground seems to be vibrating with a low, thrumming industry. You're standing above a metropolis, but this city is underground. You're looking at the entrance to a leafcutter ant colony, but let's go deeper than the marching ants we saw before. Let your mind shrink and travel down the ventilation shafts, deep into the cool, climate-controlled chambers of the nest. Here, in the dark, sits the fungus garden. It does not look like dirt. It looks like a brain or a sponge, a massive, white, fluffy structure that fills the room. This is the fungus that the ants cultivate. They feed it the leaves, and in return, the fungus produces food for the ants. It is a relationship of perfect agriculture. The air down here smells of mushrooms and fresh earth, a clean, savoury, damp smell. Watch the tiny minima ants, the gardeners, moving over the surface of the white fungus, cleaning it, weeding it, tending to it with the care of a bonsai master. It is a scene of quiet, obsessive care. The garden is alive, it breathes, it generates its own heat. Imagine resting in this underground chamber, surrounded by the soft white sponge of the fungus. It is soundproofed by meters of soil. It is protected by an army. It is a place of absolute dedication and productivity, but a productivity that is silent, hidden, and communal. You're safe in the heart of the hill. In the shadows near the entrance of the anthill, a creature waits that commands respect through sheer presence. It is the Goliath bird-eater, the largest spider in the world. But strip away the fear. Look at the animal as it truly is. It is a creature of fur and velvet. Its body is covered in dense chestnut brown hairs that make it look more like a small mammal than an arachnid. It moves with a slow, deliberate hydraulic grace. It does not scuttle, it strides. When it walks, its heavy paws make a tiny, audible sound on the dry leaves. Tip-tap, tip-tap. It is a sound of weight and substance. The Goliath is a homebody. It spends most of its life in a silk-lined burrow, waiting. It is the ultimate introvert. Visualize the spider grooming itself, running its legs through its palps, cleaning its fur just like a cat. There is a calmness to it. It relies on the vibrations of the earth to tell it what is happening. It is connected to the ground in a way we can only imagine. It feels the footsteps of a beetle 10 feet away. Connect with that groundedness. Feel the vibrations of the earth beneath you. You are heavy. You are solid. You are lined in velvet. You have nothing to fear, for you are the giant in the shadows, resting in your burrow, sensitive to the world but undisturbed by it. As night falls completely over the forest, a transformation occurs in the quiet backwaters of the river Oxbows. The giant Amazon water lily, the Victoria amazonica, which we drifted on earlier, is beginning its nightly ritual. The flower of this lily is a shapeshifter. Tonight, on its first night of blooming, it opens pure white. But this is no ordinary bloom. The flower is thermogenic. It creates its own heat. Inside the white petals, the temperature is significantly warmer than the cool night air. It acts as a beacon, a heated hotel room for the scarab beetles flying in the dark. The beetles, attracted by the heat and a scent like pineapple, fly inside the flower. As the morning approaches, the flower gently closes, trapping the beetles inside. But do not worry, this is a luxury prison. Inside the closed flower, the beetles feast on nectar and stay warm, protected from the cold and the predators of the day. They are safe. Visualize yourself as one of these beetles tucked inside the fragrant heated chamber of the white lily. You're surrounded by soft white walls. You're fed. You are warm. The world outside continues, but you are held in a suspended state of comfort. The next evening, the flower opens again to release you, but it has changed. It has turned a deep, vibrant pink. It has done its work. It releases you into the night, fed and warm, carrying the pollen of life to the next white flower. It is a cycle of hospitality and transformation. As the lily releases its guests, the air above the water begins to sparkle. It starts with a single flash in the mangroves, a yellow-green blink, then another, then 100, then thousands. These are the synchronous fireflies of the riverbanks. Unlike the fireflies of the backyard that flash randomly, these tropical species coordinate their light. They flash in unison, on, off, on, off. It looks like the forest is breathing light, The mangroves are decorated with living Christmas lights that pulse with a silent biological rhythm. It is a visual heartbeat. The darkness is total, and then, flash, the world is illuminated in a ghostly green outline and then darkness again. Watch this rhythm. Sync your own breathing to it. Inhale as they light up. Exhale as they go dark. The boundaries of the trees dissolve in the dark intervals and reappear in the light. It is hypnotic and overwhelming in its beauty. You're standing in a galaxy of living stars, a rhythmic pulsation of life that requires no electricity, no effort, only the chemistry of the night. The light is cool, not hot. It is the light of efficiency and magic. Let the rhythm mesmerizing you, blinking your eyes heavy, flashing on, flashing off, drifting deeper into the spaces between the light, into the comforting velvet darkness that holds it all. As the rhythmic pulsation of the fireflies slowly fades into the deep velvet of the night, your vision adjusts to a different kind of illumination, one that does not flash, but glows with a steady, secret persistence. You're drawn toward the entrance of a shadowed hollow in the base of an ancient tree, a place where the sun never fully reaches. Here, lining the damp walls of the recess, is a carpet of what appears to be scattered emerald dust. This is schistostega, known by the enchanting name of goblin gold. Unlike the bioluminescent fungi that create their own light, this moss is a master of reflection. Imagine looking through a microscope at a single cell of this plant. It is shaped like a perfect, tiny lens, designed to capture the faintest stray photon of starlight that wanders into the cave. It focuses this light onto its chloroplast to feed itself, and then reflects the unused green light back out to you. It is nature's cat's eye reflector. Visualize this shimmering green haze in the darkness. It looks like a treasure hoard left by spirits of the forest, a gold that cannot be spent, only admired. It relies on the shadow to shine. If you were to bring it into the harsh light of day, the magic would vanish, and it would look like ordinary brown earth. It teaches you that some beauty is reserved for the dark, for the quiet corners, for the times when the lights are out. Rest your eyes on this soft, reflected glimmer. It is a beacon of efficiency, proving that even in the deepest shadow, there is enough light to survive, enough light to shine, if you only know how to catch it. Moving past the glowing moss, you drift upward, following the darkened trunk of the tree until you reach a large knotted cavity high in the wood. Here, you encounter a ritual of safety and enclosure that rivals any fortress built by man. This is the home of the great hornbill. Inside this hollow, a mother bird has done something extraordinary to ensure her rest. She has walled herself in, using a mixture of mud, fruit pulp and droppings. The pair has plastered over the entrance to the hollow, sealing the female inside. Watch the wall hardening, turning into a solid barrier against the world. They leave only a single, narrow vertical slit, just wide enough for the male to pass food through. She's completely sequestered. She has created a sanctuary where no predator can reach, no snake can slither, no monkey can snatch. Imagine the feeling of being inside that tree. It is a space of absolute womb-like security. You're encased in living wood and dried earth. The world outside continues its chaotic spin, but you're behind the wall, in the dark, warm and safe. You have permission to seal yourself off. You have permission to close the door, to plaster over the cracks, and to exist in a private space where the only thing that matters is your own restoration. Feel the safety of that enclosure, the hush of the hollow, the ultimate peace of being unreachable. High in the canopy above the hornbill's fortress, a heavy, musky scent drifts through the humid air. A scent that is strangely comforting and domestic, reminiscent of hot buttered popcorn or baking bread. Follow this aroma to its source, and you'll find the binturong or bearcat draped across a thick branch. This creature is a shaggy black giant of the Asian rainforests, with a face that blends the features of a cat and a bear, and whiskers that twitch in the moonlight. The binturong is the embodiment of heavy relaxation. Its body is dense and low-slung, covered in coarse, thick fur that repels the rain. but its most remarkable feature is its tail. This tail is as long as its body, thick, muscular, and fully prehensile. Watch as it wraps this tail around the branch, gripping it like a fifth hand. It acts as a safety line, a brake, and a pillow. The popcorn scent comes from an oil gland, marking its territory with a smell that signals comfort to us, but ownership to the forest. Visualize the binturong moving slowly, deliberately. It is not in a hurry. It is an omnivore that loves fruit. It is satisfied, full, and heavy. Let that scent of warm, buttery comfort wrap around you. Let the image of the binturong's heavy, shaggy body anchoring itself to the tree inspire a sense of physical weight in your own limbs. You're grounded. You're held. You're safe in the high branches, smelling the warmth of the earth. Swinging through the trees near the binturong is an animal that treats the forest not as a place to sit, but as a fluid medium to flow through. It is the gibbon, the acrobat of the dawn. While they are famous for their morning songs now in the quiet, we observe their movement. Their arms are longer than their legs, designed for brachiation, a swinging motion that acts like a pendulum. Picture the gibbon's hand. The fingers are long and curved like hooks, but the thumb is detached, set far back near the wrist. This allows the hand to act as a perfect, friction-free hook that slips over branches without needing to squeeze. The gibbon does not grab the forest, it flows over it. It uses gravity and momentum, swinging in long looping arcs that look like flying. There is a rhythm to this movement. Grab, swing, release, float. Grab, swing, release, float. It is the rhythm of letting go. The gibbon cannot move forward if it holds on too tight to the branch behind it. It must release to fly. Visualize yourself in this state of flow. You're moving from moment to moment with the grace of a pendulum. You're not holding on to the past, you're hooking onto the present, swinging through the timeline of your sleep with effortless, weightless grace. In the crook of a nearby tree, where the branches form a natural bowl, a garden has planted itself. Hanging from the mossy wood are the pitchers of the nepenthes, the tropical pitcher plant. These are not flowers, but modified leaves that have swelled and curled into elegant liquid-filled goblets. They hang like ornaments, coloured in shades of lime green, speckled red, and deep purple. Look inside one of these cups. It is filled with a clear, viscous fluid. To an insect, this is a trap, but to the dreamer, it is a pool of alchemy. The plant produces this fluid to digest and absorb nutrients, turning the chaos of the insect world into pure energy for growth. The rim of the pitcher is slippery and ribbed, a perfect slide. Above the opening sits a lid, a leaf flap that prevents rain from diluting the precious fluid inside. Imagine the stillness of the liquid within the pitcher. It is a contained environment, a private reserve. The plant is patient. It does not hunt. It waits for sustenance to fall into it. It trusts that its needs will be met. There is a strange beauty in its form, a vessel designed to receive. Be like the nepenthes. Open yourself to receive the rest you need. Let your mind become a quiet vessel, holding a pool of stillness that is protected by a lid from the storms outside, slowly absorbing the nourishment of sleep. Deep in the foliage, a pair of eyes watches the pitcher plant with an intensity that is almost unnerving. These eyes are enormous, taking up nearly the entire face of the tiny creature that owns them. This is the tarsier. It is a primate no bigger than a human fist, clinging vertically to a bamboo stalk. It looks like a wise, ancient spirit in a tiny body. The tarsier's eyes are so large they cannot move in their sockets. To look around, it has evolved a neck that can turn 180 degrees in either direction like an owl. It sits in absolute stillness, scanning the dark with those giant golden orbs. It sees everything. It sees the moth fluttering. It sees the beetle crawling. But notice its hands. They are incredibly delicate, with long, slender fingers tipped with rounded pads that grip the bamboo like soft suction cups. The tarsier is the master of the weight. It does not pace. It does not fidget. It remains frozen until the exact moment of action. Connect with this stillness. You do not need to move your eyes. You do not need to turn your head. You can simply be. You can cling softly to your resting place, watching the dreams drift by with wide, unblinking acceptance, a tiny silent watcher in the night. As you move away from the hypnotic gaze of the tarsier, a large orange shape moves through the canopy with a slow, deliberate rustle. It is the orangutan, the person of the forest. The sun is setting in this part of the dream world, and the great ape is beginning its most important daily ritual, making the bed. Orangutans are the engineers of comfort. They never sleep in the same place twice, and they never sleep on a bare branch. Every single night, they construct a new, elaborate nest. Watch as the orangutan selects a sturdy fork in the tree. It reaches out with long, powerful arms and bends the living branches inward, weaving them together to form a strong, springy platform. But it doesn't stop there. Once the base is built, it adds a mattress. It plucks softer leaves, ferns, and moss, layering them meticulously to create a plush cushion. If it looks like rain, the orangutan will even build a roof, a camping umbrella of large leaves held over its head or woven into the canopy above. This takes time. It is a labour of self-care. Visualize the orangutan testing the nest, pressing down with a heavy hand to ensure it holds. Then it lies down, curling its massive body into the centre of the leafy bowl. It sighs, a deep, resonant exhale of total release. It is supported by its own creation. It is cradled by the forest. Let this inspire you to treat your own rest as a sacred ritual. You have built your nest. You have prepared your space. Now, like the wise man of the forest, you can lie down in the safety of your own making and drift away. Below the orangutan's nest, gliding silently through the mid-story, is a creature whose coat mimics the sky itself. It is the clouded leopard. This cat is a ghost. Its fur is patterned with large, irregular ellipses with dark edges, looking like storm clouds drifting across a yellow sky. It is the best climber of all the big cats, with a tail as long as its body for balance and shorter hind legs that lower its centre of gravity. The clouded leopard has the longest canine teeth relative to its skull size of any living carnivore, miniature sabres, but it is not a monster. It is a phantom. It moves along the underside of branches, hanging like a sloth, then pulls itself up with effortless strength. It is a creature of the in-between, living neither on the ground nor strictly in the crown. Watch the pattern of its fur shifting in the dappled moonlight. The clouds on its back seem to move as it moves, a camouflage that breaks up its outline until it is just a shadow among shadows. It teaches you the power of blending in. You don't need to stand out right now. You can dissolve. You can become a cloud. You can drift through the forest of your mind, soft-footed and silent, a beautiful, elusive mystery wrapped in the pattern of the storm. On the trunk of the tree where the leopard climbs, a small, unassuming lizard sits perfectly still. It is drab, grey and brown, looking exactly like a piece of bark. This is the Draco lizard, the flying dragon. But this lizard has a secret hidden within its own skeleton. When it needs to move, it doesn't just run, it expands. The Draco lizard has elongated ribs that extend outside of its body, connected by a thin, durable membrane of skin. In an instant, it unfurls these ribs, creating a pair of brightly coloured wings, often orange, blue, or red, that were hidden against its sides. It leaps into the void. It does not flap. It glides. It turns a fall into a flight. Watch it soaring from one tree to another, a controlled descent that covers 30 feet of distance. It steers with its tail. It lands with a gentle tap, folding its wings back against its body, becoming invisible bark once again. It reminds you that you have hidden capacities. You have wings tucked against your sides that you may not use every day, but when you take a leap of faith, when you step off the ledge into the unknown of sleep, you will not crash. You will glide. You will be carried by the air, supported by the hidden wings of your own spirit. Finally, the glide of the lizard leads you down to the forest floor, where the vegetation is thick and the air is still. Here, you encounter a flower that defies all logic, a plant so massive it feels alien. It is the Rafflesia arnoldi, the corpse lily. It has no leaves, no stem, no roots. It lives entirely inside a vine, invisible until it decides to bloom, and when it blooms, it produces the largest single flower on Earth, a massive red fleshy bowl 3 feet across speckled with white warts. It looks like a portal to another dimension. It sits heavily on the forest floor, weighing nearly 20 pounds. It radiates a heat, a subtle warmth generated to volatilize its scent. While its name suggests a foul odour to attract flies, in the dreamscape focus on its heaviness, its earthiness. It is a grounding force. It is the root chakra of the forest. It represents the raw, primal energy of life that explodes from the dark. It is distinct, unapologetic, and grand. It pulses with a slow, biological rhythm. Sit beside this giant red bloom in your imagination. Feel the heat radiating from it. It anchors you to the ground. It tells you that you can take up space. You can be large. You can be heavy. You can rest on the floor of the world, solid and magnificent, pulsing with the slow, deep, mysterious energy of the earth itself. Leaving the grounding heaviness of the massive red flower, your attention is drawn to a slender, trembling branch just above the forest floor. But as you watch, the branch blinks. This is the master of invisibility, the giant stick insect. In a world of predators and vibrant displays, this creature has chosen the path of total stillness and imitation. It is long, slender and knobby, coloured the exact mottled brown and lichen green of the twig it clings to. Watch how it moves. It does not simply walk, it sways. It mimics the movement of a branch caught in a gentle breeze, rocking back and forth with a hypnotic rhythmic motion. It has dissolved its identity into the forest. It is not just in the tree, it is the tree. Imagine possessing that level of camouflage, to be so perfectly aligned with your surroundings that you disappear, safe from all prying eyes. You are hidden in plain sight, swaying gently with the wind, light as a dry leaf, burdened by nothing, simply drifting in the breeze while firmly anchored to your home. Near the swaying insect, a cluster of leaves has been pulled together into a strange spherical shape bound by white silk. This is the work of the weaver ants. These architects of the canopy do not build with mud or dig into the earth, they sew. To construct their nest, a chain of ants will bridge the gap between two leaves, holding them together with their mandibles, while other ants gently squeeze a larva, using the silk it produces like a glue gun to stitch the leaves shut. Visualize the interior of this leaf nest. It is a living room made of greenery, held together by the collective effort of the family. The walls are fresh and breathable. The silk is soft and white. Inside, the colony is safe from the rain and the sun. There is a profound sense of cooperation here, a reminder that you are supported by a community, stitched into the fabric of the world by 1,000 tiny threads of connection. You're safe inside the green tent, cradled by the leaves, suspended in the cool air. If you lay your head back and look straight up through the gaps in the foliage, you might notice a stunning geometric phenomenon known as crown shyness. The giant trees of the canopy, the dipterocarps and the mahoganies, reach for the sun, but they never quite touch each other. Their uppermost branches maintain a respectful distance, leaving a winding channel of blue sky between every crown. It looks like a jigsaw puzzle that hasn't been fully pressed together, or a river of light flowing between the islands of leaves. This gap prevents the spread of leaf-eating insects and allows sunlight to filter down to the floor. It is a lesson in boundaries. Even in the crowded forest, the giants give each other space to breathe. They coexist without colliding. Visualize this river of sky above you. It is a pathway for the wind. It creates a beautiful backlit pattern of lace against the heavens. Let your own mind adopt this shyness. creating a quiet, respectful space between your thoughts, allowing the light to shine through the gaps, creating a peaceful, uncluttered vista. Draped over one of these shy branches, hanging like a cascade of green hair, is a plant that seems out of place, the ripsalis, or mistletoe cactus. We think of cacti as desert warriors, spiked and rigid, but this is a jungle cactus. It has abandoned its spines. It is soft, smooth, and trailing. It absorbs the moisture from the humid air, swelling with water until it looks like green coral growing in the sky. This plant has softened to survive. It does not fight the environment, it embraces it. Small white berries dot its stems like pearls. Touch the trailing stems in your imagination. They are cool, waxy, and flexible. They sway freely. The ripsalis teaches you that you can change your nature to fit your surroundings. You don't have to be prickly to be strong. You can be soft, you can hang loose, you can drink in the abundance around you and grow into a beautiful, cascading curtain of life that shelters everything beneath it. Walking quietly along the muddy bank of a stream that reflects the trailing cactus, you startle a bird that spreads its wings to reveal a shocking secret. It is the sun-bitten. With its wings closed, it is a drab, heron-like bird that blends into the rocks. But when it opens its wings, a massive, terrifying pattern is revealed. Each wing features a large, distinct eye spot in shades of chestnut, gold, and black. Together, the two wings look exactly like the face of a giant predator staring back at you. It is a flash of brilliance, a sudden solar flare in the gloom. The bird holds this pose, a living fan of colour. It is a master of illusion. It transforms from nothing into everything in a split second. Let this image dazzle you, the sudden revelation of hidden beauty and power. You too carry hidden suns within you, wings that can open to reveal a majesty that usually stays folded and safe. For now, you can keep them folded, resting in your camouflage, knowing the power is there whenever you need it. Leaving the lowlands and climbing higher, up into the misty slopes of the Andes where the jungle meets the clouds, you enter the domain of the spectacled bear. This is the only bear in South America, a shy, shaggy creature with markings around its eyes that look like glasses. Unlike its fierce northern cousins, the spectacled bear is largely a vegetarian, a gentle giant that spends its days eating bromeliad hearts and wild orchids. Picture this bear sitting in a tree. Yes, they build platforms in trees just to sit and eat. It is surrounded by the swirling mists of the cloud forest. Its fur is thick and black, collecting the dew. It peels a bromeliad with immense patience, savouring the sweet, watery core. There is a solitary contentment to this bear. It is the hermit of the heights. Feel the damp, cool air of the mountain forest. Feel the presence of this large, warm, furry being sitting nearby, radiating a calm, non-threatening strength. It is a guardian of the mist, watching over the high places, teaching you the pleasure of simply sitting high above the world and enjoying a good meal in peace. Down the mountain from the bear's roost, the forest opens up to reveal a steep clay cliff that glows red in the morning sun. This is the Kolpa, the clay lick, and the air is filled with a riot of colour. Hundreds of macaws, scarlet, blue and gold and green-winged, have gathered here. They cling to the vertical wall of red earth, a living tapestry of feathers. They're here to eat the dirt. The clay contains vital salts and minerals that neutralise the toxins found in the seeds they eat. It is a detoxifying ritual. Watch the vibrant colours against the red earth, the clash of primary colours, the noise, the energy. But focus on the act itself, eating the earth to heal. It is a primal connection. They are taking the mountain into their bodies. Visualise the grounding nature of this clay. It is the medicine of the earth. Imagine yourself grounded by that same red earth, heavy and solid, absorbing the stability of the ground, neutralising the toxins of stress, filling yourself with the minerals of resilience. Hovering near the edges of the clay lick, avoiding the chaos of the macaws, is a creature that pushes the limits of biology, the sword-billed hummingbird. This is the only bird in the world with a beak longer than its entire body. It looks like a tiny knight wielding a lance that is too big for him. But this beak is a key that fits only one lock, the long trumpet-shaped passion, flowers that hang high in the vines. To hold this beak up, the bird must lean its head back when it perches, looking up at the sky. It is a posture of eternal optimism. Watch it hover, sliding that impossibly long bill into a flower. It is a specialist. It has evolved to do one thing perfectly. It does not try to be a generalist, it knows its niche. Connect with that sense of specialized purpose. You fit into the world in a unique way. You have the exact tools you need to reach the nectar that is meant for you. You are perfectly balanced, even if you look different, hovering in the sweet spot of your own existence. On the floor of the valley, lying across the path, is a massive tree that fell decades ago. It is no longer standing, but it is more alive now than when it was upright. This is a nurse log. The bark has softened and moss has claimed it, turning it into a long green velvet pillow. Ferns grow from its cracks, mushrooms sprout from its sides, saplings of new trees are rooting directly into its softening wood. It is a garden built on a memory. The fallen tree gives its nutrients, its water, and its height to the next generation. It lifts the babies up out of the mud. It is the ultimate act of generosity. Touch the moss on this log. It is soaked with water, soft as a sponge, smelling of rich, dark earth and new growth. It is a bed for the forest. Let yourself lie down on this nurse log in your mind. It is soft, yielding, and teeming with quiet life. You are supported by the past, held up by the strength of what has come before, resting on a foundation that turns every ending into a new beginning. Finally, as you rest on the velvet moss of the log, the sky above begins to darken with heavy grey clouds. The air pressure drops, a heavy, comforting blanket pressing down on the world, and then the heavens open. This is not a storm, this is the eternal rain. It is the heartbeat of the rainforest. It falls in straight silver lines, millions of them connecting the sky to the earth. Listen to the sound. It is a white noise that drowns out everything else. Shh. It hits the broad leaves of the canopy. Pat, pat, pat. It drips through the mid-story. Plip, plop. It sizzles softly into the river. The air becomes water. The world is being washed. The temperature drops, creating a perfect, cool cocoon. This water has travelled around the world to be here. It rises from the trees as vapour, flies downwind and falls again as rain, a perpetual motion machine of life. Feel the rain washing over your spirit. It is rinsing away the dust, the heat, the tension. It is hydrating your soul. You're safe and dry beneath the canopy, watching the water fall, listening to the oldest lullaby on earth. The forest is drinking, the world is breathing, and you are drifting deeper and deeper, carried away on the endless soothing rhythm of the falling rain. The rain slows to a gentle stop, leaving the world glistening, dripping, and renewed. And here, in the quiet aftermath of the downpour, we discover the final, most profound secret of this emerald realm. We have walked the floor, climbed the canopy, and swum the rivers, but the greatest wonder is not a thing you can touch. It is a ghost, a spirit, a massive, invisible force that binds the entire planet together. It is the flying river. You see, the rainforest does not just accept the rain, it creates it. As the sun returns to warm the millions of square miles of wet leaves, the forest exhales. It releases a colossal volume of water vapour, 20 billion tons every single day, more than the flow of the Amazon River itself, back into the sky. Visualize this invisible ocean rising silently from the trees, a massive vertical white spirit lifting off the green skin of the earth. This vapour forms a river in the sky, a highway of mist that travels thousands of miles, carried by the winds, crossing continents, crossing oceans, bringing life to the wheat fields, the cities, and the distant mountains far beyond the jungle's edge. This is the ultimate truth. The rainforest is not a distant place. It is not separate from you. The air you're breathing in your room, right now, in this very moment, may carry a molecule of moisture that was exhaled by a kapok tree yesterday. You're physically connected to this forest. You're breathing in its gift. It is a single planetary breath. The trees inhale, you exhale. You inhale, the trees exhale. It is a circle of intimacy that spans the globe. Feel the profundity of this connection. You are never alone. You're tethered to the lungs of the earth. The forest is watching over you, sending its cooling, hydrating breath across the miles to settle in your chest, to calm your heart, to bring you the peace of the wild no matter where you lay your head. The boundary between you and the nature we've explored has dissolved. You are the forest. You are the rain. You are the breath. And so, the journey slows. The great invisible river in the sky drifts on, carrying its cargo of clouds to the horizon, leaving you safe in the stillness of the aftermath. The jungle is settling down. The sounds are fading. The great chorus of frogs and insects softens into a gentle rhythmic thrum, a heartbeat that matches your own slow, heavy pulse. The images we have seen, the glowing jaguar, the floating orchid, the sleeping sloth, the glittering river, begin to blur, softening at the edges, melting into a warm, comfortable grey. The leaves stop rustling. The wind dies down. The world is motionless, suspended in a perfect balance of dark and cool. Feel the heaviness in your legs, the weight of your arms, the release in your shoulders. You are sinking deeper into your own personal canopy, a nest built of softness and silence. There is nothing left to see. There is nothing left to learn. The Book of the Forest is closing gently, its pages made of leaves and mist. You're drifting away from the shore, the boat of your consciousness floating out onto the calm, star-reflected waters of the night. The current is slow. The water is warm. You're carried effortlessly toward the horizon of sleep, guided by the moonflower's glow and the firefly's flash. Everything is well. Everything is whole. Everything is resting. Let go of the last thread of thought. Let go of the last bit of holding on. You are safe in the arms of the earth. And now, 101 wonders are resting with you. Sleep now. Good night.